Soul Furnace a very, very powerful ability. And
yeah.
I'm curious to see what Driver is able to do with
Wait,
the
is my
Scion.
stream on?
There was a fun interview with Chawe where he talked about some inspiration from the boss coming out for Driver. So maybe if he manages to find a lead, we see some proxying. But
No.
first he's going to have to find that lead, or at the very least be
Dude,
able to
I tried to
crash
put
that
it in
wave.
the title.
Yeah, this matchup isn't fun.
And then it was like,
We'll see.
if this doesn't
Driver, as long
fit
as he can get
within
his creeps,
Twitch
doesn't actually
community
get taken down, it's not going to be
guidelines.
too bothered. As owner, on this
So I had
intel,
to
maybe
change
looking
it.
for a player towards the bot side. There are still sums available, so it looks like instead just going to go for the base, not wanting to flip
That's
too much.
crazy.
And Ezreal, notoriously not the easiest, and nor is Leona to dive.
Opting to back out, but he does drop
I'm so
double
sad
wards.
Guma
So
can't
vision on
play
red,
Ezreal.
vision on the Raptors as well.
I wanted to say,
We'll spot
I
out
wanted to
Junja
see
starting
Guma on
that
Ez.
camp. Faker and Honky just continue to trade. And honestly, very quiet game.
Leisurely start.
Kind of as expected, I would say, in terms of
Okay.
some of the champions that we have.
It's post-6, right? That I think
Who
we're
am I
really going to
drawing
see
this
once the first objective
time?
start. There isn't something
got
like
more
at least
attacks.
in the Fury where you're really going to be looking to just dive on
How
one
are
of the
you
first couple
now?
of waves.
Bro,
Thorn, he is not letting Driver charge a single decimating smash. Always staying in range, willing to tank a little bit of extra damage just to cancel the knockup. Keep that wave forward as
Oh, here he
Nico
is
is
again.
going to spot Junja.
I'm okay.
2 Gumas. Only one of them has cleanse. A difficult puzzle. As owner now ready to make the dive happen topside. Have to respect
Okay,
the
I
zombie
need to
passive from Scion. The
start
Driver in a tough
down
spot here.
here.
When becomes lightning, a quick flash out, extra shielding. And Dorn forced to flash away. Owner should just finish the job, but now the tower's hitting him. He has to flash as well. T1 grab the kill, but maybe not the cleanest execution.
We'll be able to get it. Having to
It
invest
could
a
be
second flash
bad.
obviously
I
feels rough.
can.
Really good timing for Driver on the shield, which was
It
the main thing that
wasn't
kept him alive for
that
a little bit
bad.
longer. It starts off great. Owner primes his Q, gets the auto. Doran sets him up with the Q1, but if Doran had backed, I think that is just a very clean dive, but hadn't actually spent any money yet, so not enough AD to chew for the Scion that quickly. Still though, early lead for T1. Not going to be the end of the world.
I'm
Scion of all
tired, though.
champions obviously will be fine, regardless of him getting put behind
As
a little bit early.
always, but
Still has
like,
170 extra health, so you can see at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
And
it would be
TPs
weird if I
used
wasn't
to
tired
reset
after
lane
work.
matchups here. So
Paint.
or they swap as now
I'm
Driver on the bottom
not-
side of the map. Dorn
no.
going to respond as well.
And now the
Yes.
Bramble, yeah, Bramble
I'm
Vest is
not
there. That's
drinking
kind of what
paint.
we were talking about earlier. It's an extremely strong item into Aatrox, very unfun. Can't believe he did that. Building armor.
Okay, I think this character
Look,
is
man, we
easy
talked
to
about it.
draw.
We're waiting for someone
I'll
to build
do that.
Serpent's Fang. We love the item. It's probably not this game.
Right,
I
I
don't
have
think
to
the
move
Scion
this
shields
away
enough.
from my colors.
Oh, the Victor. I'm just saying there's an
Can I
angle.
put it here? Yeah.
For now, though, Dorn, you can see playing with a little bit more respect. Of
I
course,
should-
the world under super powerful.
I should
but
drink.
potential for gank setup with Junja if he is lurking in the
Or, I
darkness.
mean,
with Scion
hydrate.
level 6 is lethal.
And what we do have is a good amount of vision being set up here in the jungle of T1. For what I imagine later on will be a
No, I
heavy
don't-
contest
I
on
don't
that from
mean
CFO.
that.
Does mean that while Junja goes for that invade, T1 is able to get the first Dragon of the Gamer.
I guess it
too
was
much
no.
counterplay. Driver will be making his way over, and
Spicy water?
Junja
I don't
has
have
ult. They
spicy
might wanna try
water.
and steal.
In, Owner on the way forward, but now manages to take it down, so it's going to cost his life. They get the Drake, but now it's all in from the side of CFO. Perfect gravity field. They're going to grab another one on top of it. Faker taken down, drops the bear.
They killed the
But in the blink of an eye,
faker.
it goes from passive to insane aggression from the side of CFO.
My goat.
And T1, usually the one doling out the aggression, but CFO,
I don't
with a
even have
great
my
rotation,
tablet out. What
catching
am I
them off
doing?
guard. Blowing up Owner, doesn't have his ultimate available. That means that there is no way for him to stall out this play, and you can see, I don't think they were really expecting to go this crazy. Driver goes in, gets the knock up, and not a lot of counterplay available there. And just giving up Owner for Dragon,
It's
not that
okay.
rough. But the fact that Faker ends up dying as well,
Faker's
it's a
scaling.
really big win here early on, because any early kills that you can get for CFO bring you closer to that promised item break point that we talked
Draws on
about
the
earlier, when
desk,
you're really
low-key,
starting to see
yeah.
the power of the Scion, this Victor,
No, I didn't
as
even
well
have
as
my
Ezreal.
Uma
pen
taking a decent
tablet
chunk
out.
here. Even without a Sheen
I mean,
completed
my-
is now
huh?
Dorn doing what he can to zone Driver
My
away.
stylus.
Willing to proxy himself if
Proxy
necessary.
the Proxer?
I mean, look, fire with fire, as it was. And I think for T1, you highlighted it so well, right? If they get that Drake, if they're closer to soul stacking, it puts them in a comfortable position as we go
No, I
later
need
into
them
this
to
game.
face
but
the other direction.
losing those few kills is rough.
I like
Or
Bramble
do
Vest.
I?
Yeah.
I don't know if you need to.
but more is better, right? That's pretty universal.
When it comes to kills, yes. When it comes to flashes blown, as Hong
Good
Q
job today,
does get
Von.
his blown
Thank
there
you.
by the timely arrival. And even despite
Thank you,
some of the
Cora.
control we saw set up earlier, T1, they get one.
I
But CFO not going to let them have
Tried
more
my
for free.
best.
And you know, I'm going to check to make sure that's not a visual bug.
Today
Could you just
wasn't
yap for
that
30
bad.
seconds? Because either I have missed a very elaborate math Reddit thread.
No, I think it was just a mistake.
Okay, there
looks
we
like
go.
he sold
Little
it.
upsie.
Pick up the chain vest.
He didn't think he'd have that much gold early game.
Well, it might also just be
3
you
to
want to get
1,
Bramble against
or
Aphos,
I mean,
right?
3 to
Sometimes
1,
it's just muscle
3
memory.
to 1 to like
Sure.
fly.
We'll
Yeah.
be pivoting away.
I
Something
missed
to
that
keep in
game.
mind
I was
if
at
we do have some very
at
specific
work.
breakpoints down the line. Thus far, though,
I wanted
really
to see
impressed
the
with the early
BLG
game that
game.
CFO have been able to show. For as good as they were, I think we saw this even in the final game that they played of their playoffs against GAM, where they
Oh my god, Ezreal ult.
really mostly rely on just
getting
slowing the
vision.
game down. So seeing them take control early definitely feels good, but there is a lot more skirmishing to be done. And T1 on that one, kind of caught sleeping. We'll see if
Iwing also
CFO
has to be
can.
careful. He's just going to jet out of the river there.
It's fine. Faker needs to catch the wave.
Yeah, it'll work out fine as Doggo going to grab a quick flower. Try to get some pressure here in the bottom lane. Earlier we saw on our screen, Driver not quite able to cancel.
Oh my
any of the
god, he
recalls,
hit his
and the ulti
teammate.
coming out from Doggo
Good
wasn't
job,
able to do it
Doggo.
either. Very close though to putting T1 in a difficult position in terms of resets and tempo on the map. Now, however,
I think they did win a match
1K
while having
difference.
Ez.
not the end of the
Oh.
world for the comp that we, generally look at as scaling
I
better.
wish I
Certainly
wanted.
feels like a strong early boon.
Why are none of the teams
Warren,
that
though,
I
holding on to
like
his
playing
individual advantage at
Ezreal?
the very least. And he is a player that we have our eyes on.
Yeah, always going to, as mentioned,
Kind of crazy.
Doran has been consistently one of the
I
top,
wanted
top laners
BLG
within the LCK
to pick
since,
Ezreal,
he joined Gen
and then they
G,
didn't.
but unfortunately it has also been met with
And then I
equal
wanted
level of troubles when it
T1
comes
to
the
have an
international
Ezreal,
performance.
but
Do want to highlight with that early kill, Honky, by the way,
He's
already
on the
starting
other
on that Rod of
team.
Ages. I do think where the Victor goes next is going to be a really big factor as to whether he's actually going to be doing damage. We've seen a lot of Victors go for builds that feel like hit a little
Should I
bit
do a
too late
full
as
body?
Quick heal out.
the ult.
Pantheon on the way down. Good value, though. The heal
What did this person
for
do?
that
I don't
ulti for
remember.
double ultis does give T1 a window of
Half
opportunity
body?
to fire
I
back.
can do a half body back.
I think you're pretty happy with that as T1 because Drake spawns in a minute. That's going to give
But
you
do I want to? Not
possible
really.
angle. At the very least, it means that
I'll
Junja
go
won't be
full.
able to join or get backline access quite as easy as, oh boy.
Ninja locked up, burst damage ready to go. Aegis assault, but Faker waits it out before throwing down his cooldowns. It might cost him though. Honku, ulti there, but Faker zooming out safety courtesy of the phase rush. Junja still living for an extra moment. Nice flash over the wall, but Owner ready to follow, as is Kaiwing. Going in for the 2v2. Owner a little bit tankier. Carrier ready to follow up. Jungle supports on both sides.
Goes back
Still
in.
standing. Q in. It's not quite enough damage, but the E over the wall. The Ray to finish it,
Oh my
which
God.
carry is real. The flash one is the right choice as Guma's lower and lower. Fights on
Minions.
multiple fronts. T1 losing so many kills.
And CFO, I think not going to be too sad about that. T1 trying
Yo,
to be
why was
tricky.
the minion at the
But
blast
looking a bit
code?
sloppy on the re-engage. I felt like they had an exit after they got the summoner out of Junja, but wanted to go for
Q.
more.
Zoning Faker out, denying the reset. Gonna slow him down that much more. Faker does have TP, but may be forced to use it to return to lane. Doran, in the meantime, though, is the one where this is paying off, getting those extra plates.
I think
As
I
we
have to
take another
stop
look at this
watching the
initial
game because
play is
T1
great,
might
right?
lose
Able to
because
do a
of
lot
me.
of damage towards Junja, trying to catch him off guard. Makes a lot
No.
of sense. But what happens next is Junja gets over the wall. Carrier basically
Why is my
whips
game
kill
so
because of the
delayed
flash.
compared to
And then
yours?
the immediate response from Kaiwing. Owner
What are you
doesn't actually
watching
connect the
on?
W and the damage onto Junja. And then when he goes back in, while
Like,
that
are
was
you
happening,
on?
Honku
No, you're not on
chucked
mobile
Faker
anymore, right?
effectively out of the fight. Faker's not able to join. Without the Annie, you're missing so much damage. And while all of that was
Oh,
happening,
I'm also
Doran
watching on
made his
the-
way over with the
the league
TP, which
side.
was what allowed Driver in the top lane.
Are you
to
watching
get
on
a
the
ton
Twitch or
of
the YouTube?
damage on that turret.
And what a reaction. Honestly fair. Junja, well-played fight, though, right? Gets Carrier's ulti before flashing over the wall. Really what keeps
Twitch?
that so
Oh,
close.
I think it's the Twitch
Driver
one
now
is
matched up
usually
against Faker. We'll see
delayed.
where they want to send
I don't know how to
Side lane
switch it.
versus Zeus is missing- or
I
excuse
usually
me,
just
Doran. Wow, big foot
Go
bomb there.
home and then
Doran.
refresh and
As
then
they keep
click
this
it
going, it's
again
going
and
to
then
be
it
tough.
switches.
As Doran, sitting on the
But I
side of
always
Sky
watch
right
off
now,
of
has
the,
his Merc
YouTube
threats
one.
done as well. On the flip side, we see Driver still fine when it comes to the item finishes. I think that time alone towards the top side, even the Doran got some plates and damage done towards the bottom half of the map's not going to be too sad as Doran
Is
should
this
be known as
MSI?
coming. See the
Yeah.
things calm down, but I don't think he can hold there. Junja's in the area, has his
I'm using it as
ultimate available.
background
Uses it.
noise
Thunder
and
Sky
to
trying
watch
to clear
it.
the wave. It's a bit of a desperate game, but World Ender now coming
How
out.
are you,
Massive
Nam?
damage. Doran lives for an extra second. Needs one more Thunder Sky proc. Gets the auto.
The
He's
heal.
still up. The outplay.
You can still get rewarded
Doran,
by
that's
watching
for
on
far too
Twitch.
long.
Yeah,
Honky
I
can't
know.
get
I
done.
just
Doran, are you kidding me?
I just prefer watching it on
That's
the
vintage Cracklord, baby.
site
As Doran somehow
and on
lives through that.
YouTube.
The patience, the gusto to dive forward. The
I
Thunder
never
Sky
forgot to
proc
say, but I love your new
through.
design. Me too.
Driver's
I
now
love
caught
it.
out.
It's so
Should be no way out
cute.
of this one, but the Sion is damn
That's
tanky.
Flash.
Flash
My
away.
forgotten memories,
Nightwing
aka
there to
like
cover.
every
But this is
single
a
one of my
disastrous sequence for
memories.
CFO, and almost 1,000 gold lead starting to shrink now as the counter punch is Faker pushing for free on the
yeah.
top side, nearly knocking down that tier 1 tower.
And the early game back and forth here.
Maybe I
That
change
play,
this pose.
obviously
I don't
T1
like
going to
it
be
too
happy with. They
much.
got the flash. Faker will be getting the turret here. But do note, Durham did mess up on a good amount of CS because even with the counter kill that he got, the healing from that kill while Zot was still ticking, obviously allowing him to stay alive. Honky was able to then immediately push onto the turret, letting some CS go to waste. As we take another look, so T1 I think was very aware that this was happening. First Durham tries to clear the wave, not actually able to do so. The flash
Never
means that there
remembers
isn't enough
us
damage.
meeting.
And then right there, the heal from Sundered Sky, as well as the fact that right afterwards he gets the heal from that turret aggro. Just Kaiwing unfortunately dropping it a little bit too late. There were 4 people there. You can drop it earlier and he would have died.
But I'm also, what is Sundered Sky with Aatrox's healing amp? 606 health.
Why does it
So
keep on
incredibly
going in
powerful
my
now. Doran knocking down
airbrush?
the
I
tower
don't
as well,
want
while
it.
the rest of the map has been a bit of a bloodbath. He's really just been holding it down on the top side. For T1, almost an 800 individual gold lead, but it's CFO who had the setup around Herald first as we went into that replay and are so far holding on to it pretty well.
How to make T1 win? I
Triforce
talk
fights on both
negatively,
sides
even
for
I
both AD
root for
carries.
them because I
Breaks
want
1-1
Genji
right
versus
now.
T1. Yeah.
Just starting up Herald. T1
I mean,
clearly
I
do
want
want to contest.
T1
Sun's
to win.
available.
I like
Almost
T1.
everyone, not for Guma, not for Doggo.
MILF.
All of which are in this fight. Let's see whether Faker can get onto the backline. And for Junja, the target selection is going to be bigger for CFO. TP comes in.
Man, I love
This is a
Faker.
hard fight for T1. Fighting into the victor can be difficult, but luckily they have the Hex
Carrier.
gates to back them up. It's Carrier on the backside. CFO have spotted it, but it might not matter. Quick lockup. Faker there as well. They've isolated the Nico.
Faker there.
Carrier
Faker
in
where?
trouble. Burning, cut down by the ulti of the victor. CFO, good patience, good discipline. How many teams have been caught out by a flank like that?
Too telegraphed. CFO, see Carrier make his way over. Like, we can see you. We know this is coming. As Driver.
Going forward.
Looks
Can't
like it's
quite
excitedly shaking the extra
more was
stream,
gonna
extra
Yeah.
sleeve length at
It's
you. True.
As we
I could make it more.
probably
like
going to take
that.
a look. That means the Herald does go over to CFO. So this early back and forth still ongoing. And as highlighted, I think that does benefit
it up
CFO
more.
if they're able to play their own game, if they're able to slow it down. Even disregarding the draft, right, where I think that the T1 composition, when we get later to the game, the damage will always be there. But you are going to be extremely reliant on just finding one target and blowing them up. And let's be real, it's going to be
Me seeing so many
Cyan,
quirky. Yeah, there's a
which
lot of.
very hard.
There's a
Junja
lot of
with his E
rumble.
as
Yo, maybe I gotta learn
You
rumble.
can see here a bit of a contrast.
Welcome home, thank you,
Autumn
Snow.
Production beautifully highlighting World's 2013
Yo,
pick was 17,
Snowy.
Honky was
Looking
6.
cute so
Two
far,
different
yeah.
generations of League of Legends player, and credit to Honky in
looks
this first
pretty
game.
cute.
He has not faltered, he has not stumbled. You highlighted it, Faker, really good playoffs, not as good of a regular season, and in this Annie matchup hasn't been able to
My
really do
rumble
a
is
whole
like
lot
my
yet.
Jack
Also seeing the
0,
T1
48
draft was very
KDA.
clearly trying to get a decent match for Fake,
Low-key,
get him on the Annie, which
That's my
always can have an
score on
impact,
every
but Cosmic Drive now
character.
done for Honky as well, and we're starting to hit the item breakpoints that I was talking about for CFO. Almost the second item on Ezreal as well, the transformation for Doggo. Junja should be getting
Sure.
close, but it's the skirmishing
I don't know if you
where
can
they
say
need
same to
remain
that.
vigilant. We've seen T1 so many times, just a single catch on a player can
Just showered
snowball
after gym.
very,
How
very
was the
swiftly,
gym?
And with Hextech Drake in particular, I don't think
Yeah.
either team can
How
afford to
was
give that soul
working
over.
out?
No, they certainly can't. We are pretty far away, as it's only the third Drake of the game up and available. Both teams tied at 1 apiece. Gold lead slightly in favor of T1, but remember, we generally favor the scaling of CFO more, and it was a bit of a misstep around Drake that gave those early kills to CFO.
How I met
They've
Bun,
been
I
a
played
pretty
top
decent
and
spot ever
died
since then. Dorn, again, the strong point of this team, now alongside
48
Fuma.
times
Herald
without killing anyone in the
is
first.
going to crash but won't quite finish the tower.
Is
CFO
that
just
how we
using it to
met?
get
No,
mid
that's not
prio
how
to
we
start
met.
this objective, but
Good
again,
vision.
have to be careful. They don't have concrete information on where Doran is, and now it's Carry on the flank. CFO, knock up from Driver.
But also, like, that
five
could be
angles.
true, because, like,
Faker
I
and Guma ready to
genuinely
go.
don't
CFO, where are they gonna
remember.
go? They're going
how
to
we
start
met.
here. Instant ulti laid down by Hongq. Doran off on the side for now, uncontested, but it's Owner who's in trouble. In the meantime, Kaiwin going in, the ball damage coming in from Driver. It's Carry on the back line with the three-man knock-up. So damn patient, and CFO are getting sent packing, retreating back to their side of the rift, but it might not be enough. Junja on the way out. Driver frontlining, trying to buy space for the rest of the team as T1 take the fight.
And though the response from Doggo on the Annie play was great, that meant no cooldowns were available for when Carryout went in. And T1 with a multi-pronged approach, actually coming in from a lot of different angles. CFO were mostly aware
Where
of all
was
of them,
I?
but it's so hard to get kind of the front to back that we talk about, right? You want Victor behind the two
walked
tanks,
in and
but you have Doran coming in on
League.
one end.
I forgot.
Carryout
I swear I
coming in
was
from another
reading
end. I
a.
want you to look at the attempted engage here. Owner gets
I
his
was
ult
reading
up,
a
which means they
message.
can't kill him.
And then I
right here,
forgot.
Faker goes for a big Annie play, but both Hongq and Doggo flash, but then
God,
Carryout
this
is
girly
there
day.
to ensure that the CC lands, the fight starts, and the moment the kill is found, Doran is
Supkey,
just
hi
gonna
Terry,
keep
hi Terry,
going
hi,
and going
hi.
and going on this
Hello,
Aatrox.
how are the
And
50
CFO
billion
have to abandon
cats?
ship. Now pick on Faker.
Faker caught out.
Faker?
Shield of Daybreak. Double TP is now coming in to back up the play. It's going to be an all-out brawl on the top side. Faker living for an extra moment. Driver going to find the knock, but just finished the kill.
Faker,
But
my
Doran is
goat,
here,
stop
as is Oren.
dying.
Doran. Double Doran. As Owner is here. Carry on the way.
JK, it was an art collab and
Guma
then
stepping up.
League
Oren
off
finds a nice initial bit of
collab.
damage at the Chaos Storm. They need to back away.
Oh my
Brew
god, I
going
forgot
in,
that
Doran caught out,
I
knocked
played
up
League
there,
back then.
beautiful. Full channel on the decimating smash.
I didn't know what I was doing. Still don't know what I'm doing.
On the Doggo, those he oversteps. It's all eyes on Hongq. He has to make the difference, but he's caught between three members of T1. It looked good for a brief moment, but T1 just
Deserved.
outplaying in
Kill
the
that
fights.
Ezreal.
And in the longer skirmish, T1
And W
get
art
better
in
of
general,
CFO.
W
No
art
dare.
Till this day, I
Despite it-
refuse to play
oh,
League
Carryout?
because I feel
Carryout.
like a.
Walking
Oh,
Junja,
I
Driver trying to
mean,
clear the wave. Owner
don't worry,
on the
that's like-
chase when it becomes lightning. Junja
I do
forced
nothing
to
in
flash
League.
out. And this is the thing that's so scary about T1. So many teams would have just backed off after that play. He felt fine to start the Wolves, but T1 is still
Like
going.
me playing
that little
League,
bit
I'm
extra
just
is
a
now mixed up to
minion.
Take this tier 1 mid.
And CFO actually like that they called the bluff. A lot of
I'm like
teams
an
in the
extra
LCK
minion,
often
that's
when you
worth
see
a
Faker
bit
inside,
more
Is
gold.
this really an overstep, or is the rest of T1 there? And as we can see, the rest of T1 does arrive, but it's a little bit too late as Faker
The
does take so much damage, and
mentioned
the double TP
trap.
is available. So the initial blow of the fight, I think, looks
I
great
remember
here
when
for
SKT
CFO.
first
We
won
have,
back
with
in
the ultimate,
Season 4
obviously,
or
Hongq
something.
was still full
Back
health,
in my day,
but I
comment.
think they should have just left. Because if they leave at this point,
Loud
even
incorrect
without a turret,
buzzer sound effect. I
they're
don't know what
fine.
you're.
Instead, they see an
What are
opportunity
you
to
replying
go
to?
in
You're
on
like
top of
delayed.
Doran, but Owner on the
Low-key.
Zinza, I want you to look here, splits up the fight, gets the flash knock up onto Doggo, and
I
then with
remember
no health bars on his
2016
tanks,
Worlds, unless that was
Hongq
18 my
just
brain
readily available for the
mushy.
T1
Me
backline
too.
to get on top 2.
And it looked so good. But again, the story of the fight is
He's saying you're
Doggo
not a
feels like
minion?
he's in this position to clean
Oh.
up or burns these cooldowns to dodge this key ability. And then someone from T1 is always there to punish. Again, T1, if you don't know their story,
Unfortunately,
you probably don't know
you're
League of Legends,
incorrect.
but a team that a bit
Took
of
a
a different
second to
road
get it, or
to
get to
MSI.
it.
Not the favorites. Many people favoring HLE above them, but the truth of this T1
You've seen
lineup,
me
almost
play.
regardless of
I'm
the players who are
basically a
playing on it, is that when
minion.
it matters, they always manage to find that form.
I get one shot like a
really do.
minion.
For it in the regular split.
I do minion
said,
damage.
CFO definitely not out of it. Regaining control is a little bit tough in this scenario, though. Obviously, these choke points are very dangerous.
On a
This
damage.
Driver.
On a Driver, bit of free poke. Carry off to the side, really determined to take away that engage option. Carry getting lower and lower. Pop lost him a little bit extra shielding, but
Snipe.
Doggo manages to finish it. And all eyes, they've forgotten entirely about the Otacon. They're forced to pull back. Driver traded in the meantime. It's just the one-for-one support for a top laner. But now the re-engage. Faker finds his man.
Faker.
And Owner and Guma are there to follow. Doggo
No.
now. Doran locked up for a moment. They should be able to finish that one. They need to get the hell out. When becomes lightning does not connect. T1 can't follow up. And Otacon is still alive, crucially, but Owner wants to push a little bit more. Take this wave out, deny a little bit more in terms of resources overall, demand a response
No.
from the side of CFO.
That too is Doran. As he
Okay, I'm
jumps
not
into two
even
people, gets
glazing.
blown
That's
up
just
before the rest of
every
his team
ADC
arrives.
ever.
Not quite,
Yeah.
ready for the damage that Doggo was
I'm
going
a
to
one up
dish
on that.
out.
I stand.
But the
I
story
do
of a
too,
lot of these
though.
skirmishes become Initially doesn't look too bad.
I get hit with
but as
every
the fight
single
continues,
route.
T1 just out executes. So driver
I
going down
can't
here, that's not
dodge
the end of
them,
the
and then
world. You get the snipe on the
I
carry,
die.
you can just
I
leave
also
it at that.
walk
Your
into
poke
ultimates.
is really, really good. But I want you to have
It's
see what
happened
happens to
too
CFO
many
instead. They
times.
think they smell weakness, and the turn here, that's not a flash. That's just straight up a Tibbers. You can see the passive. They walk into it anyway. As
I had to double check too. Wait, did he just get a bear
Ask
without
Malva
flashing?
last
the answer
night.
is yes.
He was suffering at
We do
ADC.
see the Otacon not taken by
Ari
T1,
wanted
so
me
the gold
so
lead is
badly.
slowly
Yo,
increasing,
Ari
but
loves her.
CFO
You should have hit her up.
I think if they ironically slow it down.
Tell me
in the
that
fights,
game
I think
wasn't
they've been
like the
good about
epitome of
contesting the
ADC
objectives, being where
player.
they need to be. But T1
Riz.
are, I think, in the LCK the best at feigning weakness. Doran in particular, we saw this a lot
Deadass,
during
the Ari
the
was bought
playoffs
5
as well.
times.
Like, oh, I have low health,
The
but walking
Mel.
in,
I mean,
walking back, trying to bait people in is.
doesn't that happen like a lot
It's
though?
good that you highlighted, although hold that thought.
Anytime
This fight
Malva
does
and I
break out.
are
Dragon.
bought,
Remember,
they
even though
got
Doran is a new addition to this lineup as of
somebody
this year,
always
the
in our
four-man
line.
core of this T1
Or
team
in our
have
lane.
played together for so damn long. That level of coordination you really do get to see in the fights where they're so comfortable playing across multiple fronts.
Oh
HonkU,
my
though,
god, that
will break
game.
this tower.
I wish
Doran
I was
there to
able to
respond and clear
watch.
the wave. Dragon, the center of attention for both
couldn't.
sides.
I
Potential
was
soul point
eeping.
for T1. CFO looking to deny
I'll hit her
it.
up,
Wave
like
pushed in
the
bot
girl
side,
my
gonna
mom
force a
is
response
trying
from
to get
FAKER.
me
They
with.
see
You
him
should,
now. Gives him a little bit more access to step up.
you should hit her up.
Doran on a deep flank, but he did get spotted.
should
We see
go
the
meet
pings
her.
go down. I think I want to try and collapse.
Doran
In
waiting
your
on the
new
wall.
alcoholic
Dash
shirt.
takes him out. But the wave cleared
There's a
bot side.
flash.
He's continuing to poke. Doggo with the red buff, pretty crucial. HonkU continues to walk up. Owner ready to go in. Jun just starting the fight all on his lonesome, but here comes Driver. The real Guma caught out. Pop off to the right save the day, but it's too late. CFO winning the fight so far. HonkU is so damn strong, and he's just taking over the fight. Doggo here as well. T1 thought they had the angle, but
No,
Driver and
T1
Jun
Faker.
together are doing work.
And the first
Faker
engage from Junja looks like
lock-in.
there's no follow-up. The Zinzao obviously going to be really hard to take down. But Doran already poked, and then Driver comes in.
Especially if that Ari
Drives
has a
right into the back line
$500
of
skin.
T1.
Exactly. Maybe I
And
do
they get
need.
blown up.
Oh, maybe
And
I
now
do need to
T1's
go
the one
soon.
you
You
think
should
about when you
go.
See these Barons,
should
but it's
see
CFO
her.
that's going to be taking the first one
Tell
in
me
this
if she's
series.
cute.
25-minute Baron rush in game one, going to CFO.
Don't call it
Unprecedented.
that.
The question on our
But,
minds
like,
as we entered this series
it
was,
is-
can they weather the storm of the early game? And so
it
far, the
is, like,
answer is yes, and not only that,
Alcohol shirt.
able to find these fight angles. It's not just
It
T1
is a
who
cute
can fish for
shirt.
the creative fight starts or flanks. CFO matching.
I
So
need
Doran
more
is
like
already out of this fight.
button ups
Cowen
with
able to slow
patterns.
him down, and then look at this angle right here. Do not Faker
Speaking
is in
of
here. He actually
alcohol,
has the TP and he was setting up for
hey,
Otacon.
I got the
The rest
good.
of the team just caught out without the Annie. There isn't enough damage. A beautifully
Every time I read
segmented
the
fight.
price of like league
from
skins, I feel
CFO.
the soul of a wallet
Gonna
give
get them
up.
the
Yeah,
Baron.
I mean,
I imagine going to get them to
They're
Dragon
not
as
usually
well,
that
possibly. Also Otacon.
that one
As now they make
was
their way over into the river, and with this Baron,
that
Rebel
one.
Baron power play already
was
at 2.5k
because-
gold. I don't know if T1 can contest these
Because
objectives.
yes.
It's going to be a massive gold shift because there's still tier ones on the top side. There's still
that.
double objectives in the bottom lane, and you can see the start of what felt like an inevitable red tide. T1 on this red side
wait,
just doing so
what?
much work, but CFO fighting back, putting
Alchemy
themselves in a good
Hall.
position. Doesn't seem like they want to
SMH.
overcommit to the Otacon. The resist shred still terrifying
Wait,
against a champion
is
like
the
the
skin?
Annie.
Is that skin
Junja is
500
starting it.
too?
Doran waiting in the
This
darkness.
skin.
Oh, T1. This is
Wait.
the only thing that's a bit precarious.
I don't
Otacon
think I've
obviously
seen
insanely
it.
strong. At shredding
Area again.
teams.
Wait, is it the
Hexgate
Kai'Sa one?
looking for the
Prong.
flank. Immediate retreat coming in for CFO. Driver forced to ult
Is this
early, and
Kai'Sa?
all of CFO are on the way out. T1,
Retaking control, but I don't think that they can do the side,
Oh,
and they
I
know they
see.
just want to
It's-
stall, right? Just
but this is
run
fine.
out this Baron.
It's not too great. I
Yeah,
mean,
CFO
it looks
being in this
nice.
position, it makes it
but
easy because T1 don't need to worry about anything else on the map. They don't have a good top wave to play around. No
I'm going
towers
to
are
the
under
store
threat.
later
T1
with
just
my
keeping
dad
them
to
here
get some for
is
the
taking
party.
away all that Baron time.
Yeah, I got you. I'll wingman you into.
Highway
No, I don't want
wants to
her
go
though.
Extra tanky, but not tanky enough.
I just wanna
Highway
know if
lives for
she's
an extra
cute.
moment. Now the fight's gonna kick off. Pantheon comes down from the sky, but he's caught between Faker and Owner, and they make it look effortless. The Aegis Assault can't block an assault from both sides, and in goes Carrier. CFO had all the tools, all the advantages, and in a blink of an eye, they just disappear.
Yo, milk. Man, I love carry.
Single moment of weakness. Kyoin goes down. And that they probably could have gotten away with, but CFO, to their detriment,
Wingman triangle goes hard, low
as they
key.
run with Baron buff, by the way. Could have
Just need
backed
someone
up,
to
just
teach me
shoved out the
ADC.
waves and denied the
Mostly
opportunity, but
Leona main.
instead
I
they
need
go
somebody
in
to
so
teach me
deep.
how to
Junja goes in
ADC
alone. Doggo isn't
too.
here yet. Driver isn't here yet. And
'Cause
Honky trying to
I
help out his teammate already.
can't do anything.
Uses his sums and then carry up. Finds the free man ultimate, but even if he didn't at that point, I
But
think
it's
the fight's
whatever, because I
already
don't want
rough.
somebody to
Plus the
actually
fact
teach
that
me.
Otacon was right there.
And while we're watching the replay, T1 just took 2 towers and Otacon. That brief glimmer of hope, if we could see the gold graph again. A single blip.
I'll
in
let
the
you know if
entirety
I
of this
see her.
game,
Yes, please do.
where CFO
Yo, your
had
mom's
that
gonna
big
like
advantage, and now
call
we're right
in
back to 3K
when you say that you need like a
in
haircut.
favor of T1. There it
And
is.
she's gonna call in and ask if that worker is working on that day.
Away. In the blink of an eye, T1. They're just terrifying in those fights.
Oh, I should
waiting for
save
that.
this.
That's at CFO, not losing any of their inhibs. Also not losing the dragon, so
I didn't
no
watch that, and I
soul
see
point,
T1 wipe
obviously,
CFO, but when I watch it, I
got their force from
main
those
screen they
plans,
died
plus
as
the
CFO. My luck.
already, I think, strong team fighting from
No.
T1 going to be bolstered by the
You learn by playing low
explosion from
key.
the
Yeah.
Otacon.
I mean, that's how I learn.
And for CFO, the biggest
That's how
story
I've
has
been
been the
learning.
decision-making in these fights. Right, going a little bit too aggressive, playing ball with T1 just for a little bit too long. And T1, they're always going to throw down, as we see, sometimes to the detriment.
I feel
This
like
is
if
what they do.
somebody like
And you can see in the fights, CFO start
genuinely
on their
tried to
terms, they look
teach
much
me
more comfortable. But in the
every
even
single
fights, where
thing
it's
about League
skirmishing,
and
where
the
it's about
rules,
poking and prodding and trying to find those
it would
angles
not
of
be
attack.
fun for me.
T1 showing their experience.
the TP.
It's a TP from behind. Junja not
Like,
quite
if
in a
somebody
great position, might
actually
be caught
sat
out
down
here.
and
TP
tried to
gravity
coach
field
me
response. The
about
flash hit from
League.
FAKER. They want to take the mid laner out of the equation. Hongkyu goes golden for a brief moment. Driver going to try to peel as best he can, but down goes the victor as Carrier grabs the kill. Resurrection coming in for Owner. All they got was the GA on the other front in the fight, and T1 feeling comfortable on the top side.
Could have been worse for CFO, as Hongkyu does go down, but a GA plus a couple of summoners. Not the worst trade. It's about the aftermath. I think this initial play not too bad, but if they lose Driver as well.
Driver, lock up again, the Scion falling.
Again.
And the play
My God, no,
doesn't
man,
end
I
when
love
T1 are on the
Faker.
map. You have to back off. You have to give them that respect, because
You
they
need
will
an Eye
always
of the
take just
Tiger
a little
montage,
bit
man.
more.
Those get lost
Yet another
to time
tier 2 will fall.
Yeah.
It's a
Gonna walk
situation
in
where
and she's
we
gonna think I'm
expected
so
that as we
super
got later
jacked
into the
hands and
game,
man who's super
if T1 couldn't run over in the
successful.
early game, hey, it might be tough for them. But
Yeah.
the way they're
Yeah,
executing
your
in
head
these
would
fights
hurt.
is just so
No,
much
it's not
better.
like
Well, it is also the T1 composition.
I don't think
as
my
long
head
as
would
they
hurt
can
trying
keep
to
coming
learn
in
all
as they have
that.
been
It's
doing,
just
from different angles.
it's not a vibe
you
if
don't get the
somebody
front to back,
tries to
then
actually
the CFO
teach me
will
things.
struggle a lot more. Right? Victor in particular, notorious for can do insane amounts of damage. But once you get on top of him, particularly with a lot of the more beefy characters on T1, can't shoot for them in time. We'll be getting closer to a
Like, I
death
think
gap.
if I
One
actually asked
needlessly large rod
somebody
done.
to
Also approaching a
properly
fourth
teach
item
me
on
League,
Doggo.
then
Maybe
sure,
those are the
but
break
if it's
points.
like
See if I can try to play towards,
randomly
but I also got to be honest with you, Drake, because I've seen T1.
unsolicited
these type of
advice,
scrappy games
question mark,
before.
then it's like,
That's how
eh.
I like it.
Like, I don't care enough.
And I think for Hongkyu, a player who had that massive lead caught out in the previous fight, he needs to play
It
flawlessly.
would feel more
because
like
he's
a class
staring
than a
down
game,
Faker
true.
with a book. First game, obviously an honor always to play against the GOAT, but that's tough. You were winning. You did have the lead, and now Faker's chasing as many stacks as he can get.
Ooh.
How
Honor
to ADC
starting the
from a friend's
objective.
Or if we're going
POV,
a little bit
spam
wide,
X, shift,
it is the
right,
fake
click,
Faker,
hold
however.
space bar,
Area.
rinse,
Just gonna
repeat.
lose the Celestial opposition.
I
Still
can't
crucially
play with
has
a
the
free
Portobello
cam.
available.
It's
All they need to
too
do
hard.
is just stall for Doran, right? Doran can always TP in case an engage does come through. And now CFO spotted.
I'm not a gamer.
But I think the opportunity has passed to try and actually look for a play. So that's going to be Soul Point going over as
Ezreal.
it get called
Ezreal?
out. We see Doran hold
Ezreal
off on the
mentioned?
damage for a little bit.
I love Ezreal.
Third Drake for the side of T1 now. Soul Point, 5K gold lead. 17 more flowers on top of that. The only lead left, or the only lane left with an advantage is mid lane. But it's just so difficult for CFO to come in to find that front back you talked about. Often it hinges on having better
You can
visions
always
at a
just
better
ask
cryo,
questions
but they've had
casually
to
as they
concede so
arise.
many
Yeah,
side
I mean
waves
that's what's
just to be
better
able
to do.
fight 5v5.
T1 consistently
just
retaking
play. If I
control,
die,
denying
I'm dead.
vision,
That's
all they
all.
need,
Yeah, no, me too.
particularly with these Hextech gates,
Like,
which
if I die,
we've
I
already
die.
seen
It's
one of the
whatever.
plays didn't end up working out for
Hi,
Keria.
Perry.
Faker was able to
Hi.
make his exit, but repeatedly,
I'm sort of
you don't know who's
nervous
coming
about
over. Can be
tomorrow.
the Doran on Aatrox, can be Keria, can be fake
Low
Keria.
key, no
It's
comment.
hard to, or rather Keria faking to someone
Guma.
else. Yep.
Could be fake
Because he's
anybody.
drinking.
You
Does
highlight it
mean-
well. The thing about it is they've done a good job of tracking one player. Faker, Keria, but
Because he's
both at the
gonna
same
be
time is so
drinking and like
difficult. If you
actually
forget about
drinking
one, we've
unlike
seen how quickly a
last
team fight can
time.
Doran now also has the death stance done. Look at that Honkyu. He is getting close to the death cap. That's such an immense spike.
You know,
Victor
he's
approaching
just
max
a little
level as well.
shy.
The only gold lead that's still there, but he needs to be able to
He's a
play the
little
game,
shy.
right? He needs to actually be able to get multiple spell rotations off. The rest of the team needs to keep him safe. It's easier
Bro
said
thinks
than
he's
done when
mysterious and
T1
cool
keep coming
saying
in
that
from
as
50 million different angles at the same time as Baron is up. Both teams
Yeah, you know,
gravitating towards that.
he's so
T1
mysterious.
still steady and controlled around this objective, using the Nico clone as much as they can to face check into those brushes, getting mid-prile before they lay down their vision. It looks like reset's coming through, so a moment for CFO to try and get something. Ulti in to cancel. Good vision coverage. They just want to delete the support before the fight even starts. Keria running for his life. He's going to burn down. Ignite should just take him out. Pyleway grabbing that one. But Faker's waiting over the wall. The bear dropped, but not on a crucial target. Honkyu and Driver not able to get into the fight, but the TP coming in. Doran going to flash to the side. He has to be the difference maker. Immediate ulti out. Doggo for now uncontested as the Timbers blocks as much damage as possible. Doran isolated on the side, but he's got the attention of two, and Owner's looking to take down Doggo.
And Doran might go
Double
down,
kill.
but he did his job. Stole
Guys, I'm kind of
as one of the most dangerous members on CFO didn't get to join the
Should
fight.
check
And
gaming
Keria
chat.
goes down.
Why?
But the positioning that CFO put themselves in didn't
Why
do
did you
them any
guys
favors.
ping me?
The damage from Faker was enough, and now Baron started up here for T1.
They got
Do I have to
Keria.
scroll down more? Scroll
Got
up.
Doran, but
Oh,
it doesn't
scroll
look like it's enough.
down.
Guma, Owner, Faker still standing strong.
Let's see.
Quick stun
Let's
onto
read
Driver.
this.
Gravity field will lock up Faker for a brief moment. Decimating smash doesn't connect. Objective going to be sold out by Owner in a quick retreat as they manage to grab the Baron. And now CFO
Standing
getting
on
the hell
grass
out.
now.
Unstoppable is the Scion, but Honkyu is going to be in
Calling
trouble. Has
this
to
one
flash
the
away as
nut
the sun flies to the
scratch.
air. Faker layering his skills beautifully. Timbers laid down, and down goes
Thanks.
Honkyu.
T1, that might just be it.
I
They're
love
gonna be
it.
able to get Driver as well. They have the Baron buff.
Keria respawning. Able to find the CC. Driver zoned off. Recalls in the mid lane from Faker. He can TP right back if he needs to.
Consume
Ulti down
juice.
mid to
I don't
try
have
and clear,
apple
but in the
juice.
blink of an eye,
What's for
no
dinner
opportunity
today?
to
I don't
scale,
know.
no
I wish I
soul
knew.
in this game. T1 poised to end it here. A
Now-
brief glimmer of CFO hope, but that's all we got to see.
I just
Otherwise,
found out-
total control from T1, even
He's
despite
still
a few
hunting
fights.
him.
Yo, where do you live? Hey, give me your
She's on
address.
Atlantic
I'm
because
coming
it's
over. I'm
mean.
gonna
He
have a
just wants to-
burger.
He's never gonna get the chance to recall. And now Doran's here to finish the job. His ulti's back up. His ulti's back up. Go, Driver.
I want a
Doran's just
burger.
gonna keep chasing. I don't think he can finish channeling a recall.
I think
he
I have
can't.
leftover burgers.
He
Low-key,
just
I'm gonna
wants
have
to go
another.
home, and T1 won't let it happen. It's body
still
bag
going.
or no
Oh.
back. The gates. He's gonna do it.
I had
But now
leftover
he's back
burger
with vision.
yesterday.
It doesn't matter 'cause the game
Might
is
have-
ending.
Might have
Now
it
comes
again.
the Pantheon. Junja involved in the fight, trying
Bet.
to isolate off to the side. Doggo still living, but it does not matter. T1 may have
Burger.
faltered, but they will not drop a game. They find the victory in game one.
Yay. Keria is
Back
more
and
than
forth
new.
here. In this first game between CFO,
I love
And T1.
T1.
when the dust settles and the continuous brawling ends,
MILF.
T1 able to just win out a couple of crucial fights. I'm going to be going back to that stall.
Share
when
with
Baron was
everyone.
taking the Baron
Yay,
buff After a
burgers.
great play from CFO, wonderful fight from Driver, from Junja, and from Doggo, right? They took down Doran, but they couldn't use that Baron buff to break the game.
Incredible stuff from
You should
T1 to get that back in their
take
favor.
a
Let's
photo
head
of
over
your
to the analyst
burgers.
desk to break down game one.
That was much closer.
Who won
than
game
what I
one?
expected it to be here. CFO
Guess
with the
who?
great outing of Meridian is the world champions who take game one here
Faker.
with
Just kidding.
Doran. Having a
2-1.
lot of fun this game, guys.
He had a lot of fun. You're completely right. The enemy team was trying to not let that happen.
Yeah.
There were some moments where
If they
were
lose,
trying
I'm
to,
gonna be
you know, pile on him, but he didn't let it happen.
so
Actually, I
upset.
think both top laners were having a lot of fun, right? We got to see Driver on the classic
Oh,
'Cause
true.
I wanna see
Sion,
them.
you know,
Yeah.
one of his best picks, and then Doran
The
obviously
drawing so
poised to
cute,
really
thank
take over this
you.
game on the Aatrox.
Absolutely, and I think there's
I
one
am
specific
fish.
play
I
that we
am
can
fish.
highlight here. A HyperX
We
reflex replay
are
where
fish.
it doesn't matter how many opponents you bring in the bot lane. If it
Don't
comes to
blame
that,
me,
we
Bun. I
know
told
what
you I'm a
Aatrox can
curse
do,
to
but man,
T1.
Doran,
No.
he was swinging that sword left and right.
4v1, by the way. He commits to taking the CS under turret.
It's okay.
He gets so
Surely
low, but he's like, you know what?
they'll win.
I'm going to tether you, Junja. I'm going to get my passive auto, all that regeneration, and you even get the kill on Kaiwing, who is tanking the entire time, and he lives through
We are
all
all
of that. He
egg.
gets the
There is
XP,
no
he
escape
gets the
from
kill,
egg.
He
Egg?
lives through it. Dorn just
Egg?
was insane in this play.
Fish.
Watch the regeneration. Like it's so Aatrox is so unfair sometimes. Like look at that. He was low health and then
Insert
he was not,
bun
and
fish
then he
gif.
gets the kill back.
It's the beauty of this champion.
I
Also
am
the
Snow.
frustration when you play
Hi,
against
Snow.
an Aatrox.
Nice
of
to meet
course.
you.
It often came down
Welcome.
to top lane fights, as it always does when we have this desk, I feel. Like, I feel all the series
actually,
we're hosting
we love
together.
top laners
Oh, we
here,
love
Raz.
top laners.
Yeah.
Hi, Bun.
There
Nice
was a
to meet you.
specific,
I'm new here.
Drake fight
Welcome.
around
I hope you
18:30
enjoy
that I thought was really,
stream.
really good. Driver sees the angle onto Owner, but they actually end up blowing so
Or
much on
something.
him. And then just watch Doran and Keria going in tandem, taking over the entire back half of this fight. Hongq goes down. Faker manages to live and escape off the
Faker.
backside
Faker
of it.
mention.
And yeah, this is when I thought, okay, everything is in T1's favor. But then we had so many other
Okay, this
back
should
and forth
probably
fights
be
in
up
this
more.
game.
Yeah, because even before this play, because you're right, Driver like zeroed in on Owner, picked him off, or at least tried to, and then really early on, first Drake, he did the exact same thing. He was just bullying Owner. He tried.
Wow,
He
you're
tried to
kind of
make it
cool.
happen.
I'm gonna
But you're right, it just
follow.
felt
Oh my
like
god.
Another Driver
Wow, thanks
impact
for the
play
follow.
happened later on in that very game.
Random
because
viewer.
Junja found an angle. He W'd over the wall. And they were like, oh, wait a minute. No, it feels like CFO has another angle into this game. This is that moment.
Yeah, and they try to get on to Doran here, right?
Luka
Doggo,
moment.
yeah, Doggo and Kaiwing are just taking Doran down while, you know, Driver decides to go in, and then even when Faker
You're
ends
welcome
up
from a
coming in,
random
just
viewer.
kind
I
of
hope we can be
TPs
super good
into his
friends.
death, sadly. It was really back and forth, honestly, I think, until that
Fish.
catch onto Kaiwing in the bot side jungle. That was
I love
really
button.
kind of
Button.
the backbreaker here, but I want to revisit the
Who's
top
button?
laners,
All right,
right?
let's do it.
What's
Let's
button?
get it.
Because we've got some fun top laners in this. We'll see if
I love Faker.
CFO are going to end up swapping. I know they have committed to Driver a lot, but right now
There
we
is
see the
no snow,
champion
there's
pools
only
of these
fish.
guys,
I am
right? Russ,
toast.
Doran, and Driver, and we can
cross,
actually
yeah.
we can even add an
we
Aatrox
draw this?
here,
Nice.
right?
Fish.
Yeah.
Oh, you have the handwriting that I cannot read. So
It
good luck
actually
with
looks
that.
terrible. And then Sion's out
I
there too,
don't
right?
think
so
I
there's still a lot
wanna-
left.
Yeah,
And still no
I don't
Sheer
want to be
chances.
Malva.
Exactly.
Still none.
I don't want to
Expectations
be
for the second game,
Malva.
though, hopefully, like waiting to see which top laner we're gonna have. But on the side of
My
Doran,
counsel.
when you consider the fact that CFO with
Bun
Driver,
mains
his best
Rise and
asset was
Zed.
not
No,
enough, what do you want to look
I
at
play
here?
Ezreal and Hui.
Personally, I think this is when you try to put rest in just so you can like
We are
chip at some of the
Malva.
champion pool because the Jace is something
We're
that
all-
I really
Oh, you're
love from Raz,
introducing
the same thing you said with
yourselves.
his Nidalee, but I mean, just being able to challenge the carry plays. If it's going to be about the top
Fish.
lane, hell, throw the gauntlets out. Let's actually play towards it. The fights have been pretty good for CFO. Junja, I think, was for me a little bit of a star there alongside Driver, so I just want to see a little bit more of that to empower them.
Yeah, and as you see, even the damage coming out of these 280 carries, I thought Guma very quietly had a great game, right? He was able to hit from the back line
Sure.
a lot. Remained pretty
Should I
untouched
check what
thanks
dinner is?
to kind of this Aatrox Sinjao combination being that beefy front line.
I guess it won't
for
really
him, in
matter because
addition
it's
to
gonna
a lot
be
of the
at
flanks that Keria was
6
able to pull
anyways.
off. So yeah, I'm curious. I assume CFO will stay on blue,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then we'll see if they do want to make a sub, because I feel
No
like
substitution.
No substitution.
yeah, okay.
We keep it as it is.
I was going to say, talking to people in the LCP, they said they've kind of committed to Driver.
What
a
was
lot
that one
more,
guy
right? So
Tristan
We'll see
was
what they have
talking
cooked.
about?
It's orange
Which
time.
guy?
it's orange.
It's orange time.
Yeah, we got the Scion. Now we're gonna get the
Yeah.
hard.
We're gonna go through all of them anyway, but we keep our eyes on top lane. Here,
the
the
horn.
world champions strike first here in this series.
The one
and take down
pretending to be
CFO.
a
Let's see
Skizzo.
if CFO can come back in game 2 right after this.
3, 2,
Like-
1. Oh.
Our Discord alt? Our alt accounts? Aura. It's telling me about a real person who was going through all their multiple personalities introduced. I don't. Wait, was that in that chat? I thought it was in. I thought it was in a different server for a second. Wasn't it like Nya and Neo talking about it? Because I don't remember Tristan talking about that. Oh my god, I lined before it hit 1 hour. Good job, me. What happened? Snow's trying to talk about English? Snow's misremembering things. But maybe I'm actually misremembering, but I don't think. Pretty sure he was not the one to say that.
Okay.
I'm losing it live. What's new? Nothing. Comments, Noel. Nah, high key.
Yeah, you're looking for something amazing. That's why I put in the work. That's why I grind on the daily. I'm running wild and I know that no one can tame me. Hall of Fame on my mind.
I would trust the snow guy, gives me chill vibes. I think I would know too if I was in the server. Yeah, right?
I've come too far and I know I'm gonna act out until I'm standing on the top. They hear me now.
Bro does not remember who he plays the league with. I mean, I guess it makes sense. He probably forgot because we play League with that group too. The League sessions merge into one. Daily streamer, maybe low-key. I'm trying to do at least one artfight stream a day. I don't think I will be able to on the 5th though, but missing one day is okay. It's fine. Also, how are you, N? If I sound like tired and dying, it's because I am. I like came back from work and then I started streaming. Hi Bridger. I'm good. Thinking about streaming, you should. Go stream. You should stream and then I'll pull up your stream and then I'll use you for content. You too can be added to the corner of my stream. I have no idea what Snow's saying. All good, not important. Streamception content farming, hell yeah. That's some crazy content farming. I could put you, oh my god, what if I put you on my stream and then I had you on my stream?
Let me throw it down to the ground, make 'em turn around.
Crazy.
Wing on the ward, on the ward!
Wing wants to go extra tanky, but not tanky enough. Wing lives for an extra moment. Now the fight's gonna kick off. Pantheon comes down from the sky, but he's caught between Faker and Owner, and they make it look effortless. The Aegis assault can't block an assault.
Snow tends to speak in, I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, yeah, you're true.
Had all the tools, all the advantages, and in a blink of
That's
an
so
eye, they
real.
just disappear. That is a ruthless sign production to show at the end of that clip. Of course, quick update as you can see on your screen. CFO have subbed in Rest to the top lane, replacing Driver earlier. AD speculated, and in the end, the substitution did come through. So, bit of a shakeup. The first question we always ask
Sigh.
closer
Snow
to a
hates
game 2
me.
is what needs
He
to
doesn't
change, and
like
CFO
telling me
have found
things.
an answer at the very least.
I know
Bryce
how you
coming in,
feel,
the
Malva.
carry player
I know how
of
you
their
feel.
2 top laners.
If you watch CFO throughout their midseason, you know, this is something that happens very regularly. This team actually
Snow's always
one of the few
gatekeeping.
to successfully pull off a real 6-man roster.
Sigh,
Really
he
getting
hates
full value
us.
of both players' respective champion pools.
Literally hates
not
us.
also always tied to like a player winning or losing. They're just very happy to keep their opponents on guard in the draft.
He always goes,
Again, number
never
one.
mind.
I think as the
Like,
desk
what do you
also
mean,
highlighted,
never
a lot of
mind?
great moments
You're
for
gonna
CFO.
gatekeep
Sure, yeah.
everything from me?
But it
Okay, I
was
see how it
the repeated onslaught of, I think, those multi-level
damn, okay.
engages that really ended up being the biggest difference maker with Keria, Faker, and Doran always looking for a
Snow,
flank
say
angle.
something
And I think the
Snow-like.
most terrifying compositions that T1 can bring to
I'm
bear are
not,
the
I'm just
compositions where
embarrassed.
almost every
I'm just
single player on the
remembering
roster has the agency to
All
kick
good.
a play off. Because you saw, when the Sion was in
I
a good
don't always
position,
do
when
that.
the Pantheon was
No,
there,
you don't,
there
you
were some
don't.
good looks. Wing finding a flank, but
Oh
it
my
felt
God,
like
Milf.
anybody on the side of T1 could kick off a play, could turn something around in those clutch moments. And then when they did win a play,
Yo,
they
did you hear
always
that?
went for
Never
more.
mind, never mind.
They always
Ignore
managed to
that.
find
I'm
that
not gonna
extra
speak.
kill that a lot of teams might not
Literally.
have fished for. So to enter champion
Literally.
select, need to see what the priority is going to be from CFO. Scaling front to back was what it felt like they brought through in that first game, even if it didn't
Snow
really ever come to
impression.
fruition. Perhaps some adaptation now as they return to the blue side, of course, with their choice.
No real surprises there.
That's not what you
To
do. You literally
maintain
do
those-
that.
At least the first band, but I imagine those same bands towards
Yeah, it
Honky as
was,
well.
yeah.
In that game, the laning phase, I think
I
still good
remember.
performance, but as so often with Victor, even with getting
Just
the early
asked
items
her.
right, the early roll
You asked her, tell her that I said
kill,
hi.
was able to find the actual damage from the Victor just never
Hi,
really
Queen.
materialized, partially because of T1's collapses, but also partially because Victor just really needs a lot of time, especially
Forbidden
if you go for
reference,
Whirlwind
me
to
so dead, me
Cosmic
so
Drive.
dead, me so
It takes a really
dead.
long time to really get going, as there we see
Yeah.
a Zero Band away as well.
So it doesn't want to give them that scaling option. Of course, it was Roa into Cosmic Drive, into Zanya's.
Yeah.
So didn't have-
Hi,
took
bud.
quite a
Oh
bit
my
of time. You
god.
can
And then
understand.
you don't have your voice
Me
staff,
so
which you
blunt.
also really want.
It's tough.
I
because you
love
want
me
some of those
so
defensive
blunt.
options. You've been getting it on all sides. Different players diving in, finding engages. But now the TF band
You're a really
Rumble
good
to
guy.
follow. Coin and Rumble both off the board.
You have said that before. He
Ace goes to
always
Faye
says
as
that.
well. Still a lot of high prio jungles
That's
available.
what my bro would
Buy
say.
comes to mind as a
Your
priority pickup
bro
here.
would say
The
hi,
downside
bud.
advice that obviously does tilt your draft in a specific direction. So there is the opportunity to go. We've seen things like the Skarner be picked into it pretty often.
True.
Wukong, another pick
Yo.
that does well.
Oh, Snow, my
Does look like that he's
bro.
going to be the B1 here, and then for owner, I'm gonna probably say Wukong. For
I was like,
Iberin.
why are
Might have
you
been Skarner, but
telling
this early on, I
people
think
about
he
me?
will be
That's
very happy to just be on a carry again.
We've seen
crazy.
how good the Wukong can be into the Vi, whether it's counter engaging as she goes in.
When's Snow
your
gonna
back
say
line
that
or
about
just
me?
use
What,
it
that you're a
alone
really
in the
cool
1v1.
guy?
T1. Have the luxury of double picks here. Oh, the early Callista alongside the Renata.
I don't know if you want to be told that you're a
Not what you would
really
expect,
cool
but they know the jungle
guy.
position isn't contested anymore, so maybe happy to let a few bans go through and much more concerned about securing that powerhouse 2v2. And this is a duo that can get so much work done.
So this is great on 3 levels. Renata into Vi is always going to feel great. You can stall with the bailout, and Vi is not going to have a choice but to go in, so the ultimate will always get value. Then, on top of that, Gumayushi and Carrier generally always want to play for as oppressive of a 2v2 as possible.
Yeah.
And Nico is out of the pool. Nico is one of the few champions that we have seen had consistently good matchups into Renata. It's quite hard for Renata, and the big benefit of Nico is that you can obviously
Nico.
cook harder and try to really go for something
I
crazy
remember
into Renata,
seeing a
then
really
if
great
that
Nico
doesn't pan
play
out early, you are kind
in
of out of luck.
MSI.
And Nico has so much value just throughout the
dot.
entirety of the game that players are happy to pick her up regardless.
Wait,
Now,
why is it a bad thing to
this
be
is
told that? Yeah, it's because
one
99% of the
picks that
time
we
he's like
have seen
sarcastic.
Kaiwing add to
He's
his
like-
arsenal.
He's like, yeah, you're a
He's
really good
picked it up
guy. You're a
once
really great
before.
guy.
Of course, when you see Kaiwing on a non-engaged support, you're always going to be a little worried. I think even that Leona in the previous game, a lot of the key catches did come from him, but the Lucian Nami as a 2v2, obviously a force to be reckoned with.
Can be incredibly powerful, right? And if you get that lead, the range the Coling brings against champions like Callista, maybe even this Rise.
Thank
if
God
it's
I have
locked
not
in,
been
can do
told
a lot more,
that.
but it's a
Yo,
tall
you
task
should-
for Kaiwing, right? Need
You
to
should
see
tell me that,
a
Snow.
level up in that
Tell me I'm a really
performance
great
on this
guy.
champion, especially against a duo like Gumayushi and Carrier, and especially against what looks to be Faker's Rise.
Or will be
But no
mid
comment.
lane bans here, just continuing the focus on Honky.
He
trying to
hates me,
secure Faker
guys. He hates
as good a matchup
me.
as possible.
And I think the nice thing about
Like, look at
taking
that.
Corki
No
in the game one
comment.
as well
Okay.
is that it is Honkyu's third most played alongside the Victor and the Azir. So you've effectively also trimmed his champion pool where he wants to go
Sigh,
next.
he
It's
did
been
it
tough.
again. I know. Oh my god.
Now the Galio also taken away.
There's also Crocolord sign there as well. The Galio obviously has the ability to
Bingo, they hate
of
me.
what Rise does. Rise also has no
The
choice
issue
but to get
is it
close to
feels
him
so
when the team
sincere.
fights break out, and you can
It
follow the
doesn't,
realm mark
though.
with your
Like, anytime I
ultimate.
see him say you're a
by
really
somewhat
great guy,
mitigating
I'm
the
like, oh.
sideline impact that, especially for a player like
joking.
Faker, right? We know he doesn't really play for lane. He's just playing for the skirmishes. He's playing for, in this game, most likely.
I lurked
Gumayushi
food
and
break.
And also the
Okay,
combo
have a
with
good
Vi,
look,
right, can be
okay.
potent. So
Yep.
Galio, that's the bench. Second ban now.
Nah,
coming
Loki,
through
I come
from
off
the
super
side of
sarcastic,
T1.
yeah. You'll compliment somebody and then it sounds like a joke.
We'll have to see what the ban is to come through. It is Cassiopeia going to get banned away here.
I forgot, there was like this
Okay,
one
so don't
time.
want to fight fire with fire in terms of the short range.
I
kind
think
of
you were
stealing that
in
each matchup.
VC and then
classic
you said
right counter
something
pick that we have seen.
like,
Also, if anyone
that's
can
cool,
rise-
or
Shout out
maybe it was
Honky, of course.
Chunky, I
Yesterday
don't
was his
remember.
birthday. Now 18.
One of
I
you
think
said that.
18-year-olds, the best. It was a
And then
Poppy
the
ban,
other
though.
was like,
Sorry,
it
side note,
sounds
the ban
really
you cannot see on your
sarcastic
screen
when you
between
say
Twisted
that.
Fate and Ambessa is a Poppy ban. Apologies for the confusion there, but Poppy has now been taken away, and now need to see what are the options
Stretch.
going to be from the side of CFO.
It's-
We're looking for
Chunky
solo lanes.
suffers the
Yeah.
same
T1 is
thing.
obviously gonna do the Wukong. I think that's a no-brainer. Owner loves this pick.
Every time
Insanely
Chunky
strong,
talks,
gonna make
I think he's
Dova's
being
life
sarcastic.
A lot harder, and it's good into the Vi as well. Obviously able to
That's
slip
awesome,
away.
dude.
I've seen more ults on clones than I care for Dracos.
Yeah, at least the Nico isn't
Like
here
when
this
he's
time around,
asking
right?
a question, I never know if he's
The
joking or
double
not.
Yeah,
summon.
it's so infuriating. Watching
I'm
those
like,
games is
do I
fun. You
answer
really feel for pro
seriously or do
players.
I
I've seen this one before.
not answer properly?
Okay. Honku.
Aurelion Soul, definitely an option. They want a little bit more time to decide what
Okay,
he's
I
going to
will
go for. His
stretch.
blind pick, Cassante. Of all the champions you could blind pick,
Oh.
definitely feel too bad.
Yo.
And I'm wondering if T1 wants to go towards.
Tell my mic to shut
Possible
up. Yo,
Camille
stop
here on
capturing that.
It's again one of those picks where you're in this
I
case, I guess
just
you're
turned to the
denying
side
it from
of
Honky,
it.
who did play it.
Yo, I'm
If
old.
I remember correctly, when they were a match down, Aurora is going to be the lock in here, so that does mean
Snow
a lot more
talks with a
backline
glossary. He
threat for
says
all
so
the
many
short-range
references.
carries on T1. but
Big
Aurora
it
is the
wasn't
type of
even a
champion that I
big
think can really
stretch. I
easily
just
fall flat
turned.
if you don't get a good start. As now, Doran, what is it
I
going
turned
to
and-
be towards the top
Oh,
side of the
maybe
map
I'll
here,
actually-
into the Cassante?
Stretch.
You predicted the Camille angle. Jack's also a potential option.
Comfort, but don't like this matchup quite as much into the Cassante.
Okay, the other ones were
We've seen
like-
a lot of Cassante picks into Jax.
Yep.
You are going to give
Yo,
up a
you
lot of
should
lane
hear my
power with
bones
this.
at work.
I think the big benefit of the Jax though,
Like, when I'm
harder
sitting
to
there
dive,
in my
and
chair,
Owner's going to be playing towards spots at the map in this game.
and then I
think
decide to
as will
stretch a
FAKER, and
bit.
the Jax is a lot more self-sufficient, and once you get
so loud,
some
and I'm
break
like,
points,
God, I
once you get to
can't be
2+,
doing this.
you will be able to threaten the Cassante inside.
Yeah, we've seen what Doran can do, especially once he gets a couple of those items in his belt. We saw it with the Aatrox, the tower dive.
Straight
was
from the
able to survive.
cranium.
Maybe not that much survival
Um,
utility for the Jax, but pretty
okay.
close. Expectations,
I
attention
believe
down to the
you.
bottom side of the map. T1 really laying down the gauntlet in that 1-2. Priority picking their bot lane, not worried about the potential counter pick from the side of CFO. And CFO
Every
showing
time
us
I
something a little bit
speak,
new.
I have
We're no
to
stranger
open a
to Doggo's
dictionary
Lucian.
because I don't know
Kyling on the Snout,
words.
we've only seen it once before this split, so need to see that level up because this is tough. This is a really easy duo to fumble in the early game and have it all fall apart.
Whoever gets ahead early in that matchup is going to be feeling great, right? That's what it boils down to. If you miss a bubble on a hopping
I'm
ballista,
sure
get the
consumer
Spectre
juice,
rank,
okay.
can be really rough.
So
But if
many
the
stretch.
Lucian pulls ahead, has
Guys,
his
I don't
ultimate
need to
available
stretch
to just
that
blow
much.
through a good amount of
My
the health
keyboard
bar.
broke from typing
Not
I
much you
love
can do.
T1 too much. Yo,
No, I
my
didn't
keyboard's
believe
also
her, but
broken, but
that
it's
was
not
I believe her.
from
that she
saying
broke
I
her
love
keyboard from
T1.
typing
Yeah.
I love T1 too hard. That was a level of enthusiasm.
But I
and
do
stuff to
love
match.
T1.
But here we are, game 2, T1. Off to a heck of a start. CFCO, new top laner, subbed in. I shouldn't say new.
New
Rest.
top
The
laner.
other top
they
laner,
already
yeah,
subbed
subbed in. Not
somebody.
new.
I
No
guess
stranger
they
to
were
a sign
talking
up.
about that earlier.
What we saw in game number 1 though was that Junja was able to have big impacts early, right? Found that very early gank towards the bottom side of the map. I would expect him to look for something similar, as we can see starting on the top side. And the big difference here is that last game,
Yoga
I think
stream.
the power in early game was a lot more even. But Vi, pre-6,
But you just
even
hear
though
me
she's not as
dying
strong as
because
when
I
she gets
don't
her ultimate,
stretch.
has still great ganking power. Wukong, it's fine. Yeah, it's just not great. As we take another look here, and as mentioned, these two players very consistently swapping, and CFO really uses this in their drafts and in their best of 5s.
Yep. Driver, the player we saw in game 1, pulling out the Scion, more of that tank identity.
Shyvana.
And yeah, Rest on the other side, more willing to cook. He is the spice. You know,
It's
he's the guy
actually
who's got
so
the
bad
saucy
though. I
picks.
used
He's
to
willing to try new
stretch
things.
so
But you
much
play
because
Cassante this game, so
dance and gymnastics.
sometimes
And
the
now I
sauce
do
is
nothing.
overlooked, but hey,
Ooh,
That'd be
I've
the,
seen this before
the
with
shortest stream
specifically
ever.
lethal tempo jacks, but with Grasp, he has Counter-Strike, so he can
Low-key, yeah.
really be very, very obnoxious here.
I
looks to be a
streamed for like
nuisance. Now just starts to retreat.
2 minutes, and then I'm like, all
trying
right,
to
guys,
slow
I'm
this
tired.
down just a bit. Gets away from what could be a pretty frustrating
Shorter
level
than
1
the
against
New
the
Year's
Cassante,
one.
obviously a much lower
Oh, so
cooldown.
like
Oh, is Rust gonna
0.1
miss XP?
second.
Oh, he
Okay.
still missed it. Oh, I think he got 2 out of the 3, maybe even only one.
For those of
Even
you,
with the flash.
I don't know if my
missed
dad
confirmation
knows what he's
from
making for
production.
dinner, so I can't
Wasn't
even
able to get
ask.
in range. You can see a fast level 2 coming in for Dorn, and that is brutal. It might look a little bit strange if you're not used to seeing
hungry.
something like that, but the experience is so important in that matchup. Willing to flash just to
Oh.
get that last little bit extra, and now he is disastrously far
I
behind.
flashed for that.
The
I
only
mean,
good news is
we've seen that
it's Wukong
before.
in the jungle who just wants to farm for 6. It's not an early diver. There is no massive threat on your life just yet, but for Rest, this is a miserable
I've
start
seen
to the
some
laning phase.
interesting flashes
It's
in
really because, as mentioned,
in
I
normal,
think we have seen Cassandra,
non-pro
after all his
play.
changes, actually be a pretty formidable laner, particularly early on, able to out-trade a lot of champions, Jax included. And Owner making the read that since Junja was slightly delayed on his play and has Prio in the bot lane, is going to look for a steal here. Will get spotted, but I don't know if he cares.
Owner going over the wall.
Ooh, nice little eater from Junja. Still picks up a lot of the small ones, but the big one did go to Owner, but I can only imagine that they want to try and go for this red buff as well. T1, it's Kalista, Renata. They would love to scrap.
Junja maybe hoping for a steal. Still has access to the smite, but T1 looks like hoping for a Junja as he is forced to flash away from the handshake.
He has smite, but I don't think he's going to get the opportunity. Oh, over the wall!
Can he steal it? Oh!
oh,
A nice little heist and a little bit of hope for Junja. That was a rough start, and now level 3 is there for Doggo and Kaiwing, and that's big. You can see Guma getting chunked out. Bubble going to connect onto 1. Owner on the way in. Heal already
Holy.
used from Doggo. But to
holy
get the barrier, they get the
indeed.
heal in exchange for just a heal of their own. So Junja's flash given up, a little bit difficult, but for the bot lane 2v2 at least,
Maybe
a nice
I
trade
don't
of
need this
sums.
down here.
CFO not going to give anything to T1 for free. Top lane matchup, a bit rough. Thanks to Doran's early shenanigans, but really nicely done there by Junja to find
Play like
himself
such
the
a
smite
boy.
over
Yeah,
the
I would
wall.
want to
Big
smash
deal,
my head
because
into a
otherwise
wall if the enemy team
I
did
think
that.
he really starts falling far behind. It also accelerates Owner's carry out.
Bubble. Nice look from the side of Doggo.
That's how
Carry
I
forced to
feel
flash out.
all the time.
Doggo
when
and
I play
Kylling
League,
playing with the
low-key.
expectations of T1 there. Had
Oh, look at
expected a
mid.
recall, so set the trap in the bush as Junja walks into Faker. Honku now looking for the setup, trying to find a bit more damage. Flash forward, Faker flashing out at first blood.
It's Junja again! Gets his own buff. As sees his Crux taken, doesn't really care.
Just seems unfazed.
Makes his way over to the top side of the map, and just as
Faker,
Faker, I
lock
think, has a
in.
suspicion, places down the ward.
Lock in my
Not
goat.
only does he get the kill, but he also gets the flash. So that means at level 6, there is a huge opportunity here for the Vi to make yet another play on this rise.
Is Aurora balanced or what? She's
Pretty
not.
plain and simple. Faker
Dude, she
caught
pokes you
right
and
as
then,
he
like, half
goes
your
to
HP is
place the
gone.
ward. What a nice little
Like,
timing.
how is that
Coming
fair?
in from Junja.
From Junja. As
Doggo, dash over the wall, face first to the Doran. Doran running it down, he goes.
The hidden Lucian is the deadliest. No one sees it coming.
I-
The Lucian gank? You kidding me?
In respect to CFO, they are cooking.
Full body.
We didn't see it in the pick in the form of the Cassante, but the angles that they are looking for, the quick flash over the wall. Credit to them, getting back into lane, getting the kill. Of course, they don't get to spend the gold yet, but there's a damn strong start from the side of CFO.
Mid jungle up. Bot lane, gonna be feeling good. I haven't even mentioned it, but Doggo actually going for Electrocute, which kind of insane when it comes to the to the keystone.
Well, and you mentioned,
God,
right, that it's
yay,
all about who
points.
pulls ahead in the early game. Doggo clearly
56
very
points.
committed
That's
to
like
pulling ahead in the early
nothing.
game.
That's kind of insane.
Alright.
Usually you see, if you want to really play for short aggressive trades, you see PTA.
Sure,
And
yeah.
if you want to really only play for calling, although that style hasn't been popular recently, you go
Edgy
for
Snow,
first
good
strike.
art concept.
Vision, but maybe not enough.
You have suspicion.
can we get
but
an Edgy
Hounder's also-
Snow?
he's level 5 Wukong, so
Carry
I've
finds the
seen League
handshake,
Rage. Ain't no rage like
but
League
again, credit
Rage.
to the side of CFO.
And I play Splatoon.
Junja and now
I
Doggo as
mean,
well, finding
yeah,
those
no,
early
there's
kills.
some
your cleanse.
Cleanse is
there's some
forced just in the
questionable
2v2.
angry people
Well played by
who
Carrier.
play League.
An owner is scam zoned up, so he can
Not
actually
literally.
afford
I would
to
never
do
rage
this.
smash or anything.
Obviously, just dinged 5, but thanks to his
Maybe
continued
15-year-old
play
Snow would
and the
have
buff that
probably.
he got, and the fact that owner wasted a lot of time trying to get it, Junja
I
actually
don't-
pulling
I don't
ahead
rage
pretty
at
nicely here in
League, though.
experience. So
I'm a-
he's going to give them another window where
I'm
he
a
will have his
pretty
ultimate.
chill person.
5 will
I'm
be
just
able to make
cool like
impact,
that, you
and
know.
Faker.
See Honku trading so aggressively. Faker zooming out to safety though. Power of the phase rush. Keeps him standing.
Don't give Bun any
Doing
ideas.
very well in the trades. Good discipline from Faker. Just instantly walks
I won't
out.
draw them. Don't worry.
Keeping an eye on the purple experience bars at the bottom of your screen. Boomer
Edgy
just
Dog
slightly
Snow,
behind
though.
Doggo overall. Doggo about to pick up these 3 creeps, so a quick
Okay,
level 6
next
could be the difference in this
person.
2v2.
And thanks to Doggo's gank, we also see Doran no longer ahead in XP. So even though Rest did use his flash level 1, didn't really mean anything, right? He wasn't punished for it.
Yo.
And
Yo, what's
with
up?
Doran dying, he's able to fully catch up. Slightly behind in gold, but not really going to be the end of the world.
Push back from Rest. Ulti back. Doran just going to retreat. Crucially,
Walks it off.
doesn't take tower aggro.
Should I draw this character?
Yeah,
I
would have
wanna
been in
draw
real
this
trouble if the
character.
wave was in a slightly different position. I think could have actually ended up going down because he doesn't have flash. His lane opponent does, and now
What are the
Junja
rules?
has his flash or his ultimate rather available. It's the experience that we talked about, but I think they spotted just on the edge there with the sweeper, the ward, which means that T1's now. So obviously Faker not going to fall for that. Still nice early game here from CFO.
Not
Feels
with
like the second
their
game in a row.
fight, okay.
But it was the objective fight where we really
Rinse and
started to
repeat mid.
see.
Faker
Oh,
caught out. Q
the
flash from Junja. Instant bubble. 8 minutes in, they've already claimed the feat of warfare. Grubs are spawning, and they're in a great position to take it now. Guma and Carrier trying to push back, trying to get something on the bottom side of the map, and it looks like they'll just accept the trade. They'll accept the cross map, take first Drake of the game in exchange for these grubs.
Doggo's just living his best life. He's just walking from lane to lane. It's like,
Getting
you want,
kills.
you want this kill? Take it. You want another? Drake now being started here
trying to
by
see if
T1.
this-
Looks like the trade
this
is going to
rule
be Drake
means
for
that
T1.
I have to-
but a
or
kill
that they want
going
me to
CFO,
draw.
and those grubs are also on the way. As
Their
Doran,
OC with like this
again,
little,
kind of mosquitoing
little
around.
creature form.
But looks like for now we'll be able to stall. Faker obviously has Realm Warp available. We'll see if they actually want to commit to this, if the wave is cleared. Doran standing guard. Loves his objectives, as we all know.
Very true. seeing if maybe he can sneak a kill if they get over eager. Owner level 6 here on the bottom side. Quick heal coming out. Faker on the way in. Good tidal wave to start, but Doggo doesn't really have any mana. Nice ulti
Maybe
coming
I
in from
should
Guma to
try a
reset the
different
tower
OC, that's
aggro.
probably
Doggo living
easier.
for an extra second. Decent damage, and Owner now forced to flash away, but they got what they came for. HonkQ here trying
Edgy
to extend
dogs
the
know
fight.
a single
Junja
black
find the
spot
punish.
around
Excellent
one.
handshake. Catches
Wait,
him in
that'd be
stealth.
funny.
Perfect from Carrier, caught off onto the side. Wants a bit more damage. Junja, again, they're keeping the play going. The extra movement speed coming in from Kaiwing. They don't have the tidal wave, but they might not need it. HonkQ on the chase. Carrier ready with the handshake to try and disengage. Faker looks like he will just be sacrificed here. Bubble to follow. Junja going to be donated the kill. HonkQ taking it in the end with the pullback.
The emo
An
hair.
excellent turn from the side of CFO. T1, the initial dive started well, but they used too many resources.
Took them so long to actually get the kill because they haven't been able to build any substantial lead. Look at Guma as well. Doggo sitting on Essence Reaver. Guma was, when that play started, just sitting on steel caps. So there just wasn't that much damage available realistically, which means that response from CFO, great yet again. Doggo just pulling further ahead. As we take a look here, they're able to stall for such a long amount of time. Kaiwing just hit 6, so the wave comes in. And even though they get the aggro reset, you can see the amount of damage that Guma takes. Absolutely disgusting. He doesn't get to join because they have already ramped up. And then Owner trying to kind of get him out, but I think they've pretty quickly realized. And I want you to look, Faker's flash timing while this is happening. If he has his flash here, I think he flashes over the wall, he probably is fine. But instead, flash isn't up. In the moment that Junja finds the Q flash, obviously nothing that Faker can do. And CFO
Edgy snow
running
reel.
the early game, really getting the full value, skirmishing around. And as we said, if this Lucian gets ahead, the game becomes so much harder because contesting mid-wave when Doggo has any form of backup is hard. I say that as he's laning 1v2, he does still need help. Although, does he?
Some
That
form of
electric Q.
backup has appeared as Doggo is still really hurting. And I think, again, I want to call our minds back to the mid lane matchup, because I think HonkQ getting a lot of support, but doing well with the resources he's been given, and for the second game in a row, finding these leads over Faker early on. Now, Rise is a champ who scales fantastically into later stages of the game, but HonkQ in a good position to make the difference.
I think it looks better if
It's insane to me how consistent Junja is the player we have to watch.
It's wild, right?
Oh, what,
That's
do you want
really
this? Okay.
step out. As we see here, the gold at 14, even in game number 1, wasn't going the way of Faker, but he also didn't fall that substantially behind. I think this was mostly the kills that were found, right? But he wasn't dying on repeat. He already has died as many times as he did in the entirety of that previous game. And unfortunately, I think for Faker, we're really seeing what we saw in the LCK domestically as well. After 2 years where his spring split domestically was really top level, only eclipsed by Chovy.
Evil Snow will actually,
the
we'll say actually and then say what he was going to say
CFO
instead of never
making
mind.
excellent use of that,
True.
continuously finding these plays on him.
But even if he doesn't have the gold leads in the early game, we saw what he could do mid to late on the Annie. Rise, set up with the Realm
Evil
Warp.
Snow
Still
would
a
not
champion
be
who scales
gatekeeping
fantastically as the Realm Warp
everything.
now comes in. Owner looking to find his target. HonkQ locked up for a moment and trying to make it out to safety. Owner a quick retreat though. So Alti traded for Alti. Fakers as well, so 2-for-1 trade in favor of CFO.
Yeah, the moment they see
maybe I just
Junja, like,
export.
oh, wait. We don't want that heat. That's too much.
Temp.
Doran hasn't backed yet.
On the way.
Rest has, but if there was anyone here in top lane, he's dead, by the way. But they did see Junja, so I think Doran feeling a little safe. That's the
Evil
only lead
Snow, by the
there
way.
for
Okay.
T1 right now. And some of the matchups, I think, to be expected, particularly, again, the jungle matchup. And Junja, with the way he's been playing, Owner, pre-6, doesn't get to do that much. And we need to start seeing for T1 some of these skirmishes,
do
because
the
otherwise, I
other
think
version.
CFO, the only thing they have been able to do is stack the Drakes. And in about 40 seconds, they should be starting that.
And can this team replicate some of the same team fights that we saw in the previous match, where they were attacking from multiple angles? It's harder on the Renata. This time you do have the Kalista to keep you safe, but it's not the same level of engaged threat that Aniko brings through. Doggo and Kaiwing continuing to trade in the mid lane. Doggo happy to have a 1,000 gold lead. Not even a full completed item from Guma, as Carrier is taking an immense amount of damage. Heal just for
How
the
can I
movement
make this
speed.
edgier if I
Try to
put
get
like
out of the pulling.
a blue
This is
streak?
what we're talking about. Once you get ahead on this Lucian,
Big chunk.
with the
Oh,
electrocute.
Wow, what a...
The funniest
What
part
a
is that
edgy
there was
guy.
obviously a large time where Nami took electrocute back when that interaction still worked, so you could proc it.
Awesome.
Lucian is, oh my god, HonkQ.
Forced to flash out, flash for flash trade, and again, this is something
That's
that we've
Drake.
seen
Temp.
this tournament so far, is just chipping away at these cooldowns before a major fight. Drake going to be picked up by Junja. HonkQ sticking around in mid lane, knowing that that ulti was used in the previous fight. It's just 5 seconds away. But Owner already getting chunked out, and CFO
This
running
guy
the riff right now.
sucks.
2,000
What?
gold in the lead at 14 minutes.
Trade
Yo,
taken
this
as well.
guy? Like,
And unlike in the previous
this
game,
guy?
the team fight, I think, for T1, not a given. The last time around, they were very firmly in control, but that mid lane turret falling early as
Owner caught out for a moment. Honku!
So
Burst damage
edge.
is there, but Faker
So
now wants to take
edge.
down Kaiwing, but he might be the one who's in trouble. Flash forward, gets a little bit extra movement speed, but the phase rush isn't there, and Honku grabs another T1. Trying to
Edgy.
get something back, but
that
it
was
just doesn't work.
Flashing for that kill, just trying to desperately get anything. Meanwhile, Junja is just wrecking a turret. He's breaking the vault.
And credit to CFO again. Top lane changed, but top lane isn't where the
That
action is
guy
happening,
definitely
although,
goes
as I
to
say
hot
that, Carrier
topic.
getting things kicked off. Q3 ready to go for rest. It doesn't look like he's gonna have an easy way out of this. Was hoping to find the ulti, and he will at least be able to take Doran over the wall. Nice healing coming in.
Wait,
Omni
I know
on
what
the
to
ulti, but he
do.
gets
I know
away
what
from
to
the
do. I know what
Pathmaker.
to do.
That's the crucial skill. Rest back and can't
This is
cancel
how we
early.
make it even more edgy.
Q3 taking some time.
Ready?
Doran in trouble, but manages to get the
Caller.
shutdown. Hong Q on the way. Doggo chasing as well. That's the calling. Guma in trouble. Knockdown there. Doggo!
Guma in
The
trouble.
electrocute Brock finishing it. He's John Wick. He's just shooting them down. And he's the dog. It shouldn't be allowed, Mao.
It can't be both.
Wait, I need the
That's a big
other
side,
thing.
Strakos. His owner tries to get anything on the cross map, but CFO running the rift in his game number 2, and in game number 1 we
Ooh,
saw
so
glimpses of this early on,
edgy
but
with
then once the
his
fight started,
little
T1 was able
spikes.
to find back the pace. As it's really just Doran right now who is able to consistently find a decent impact, as we see the 6-man roster here of CFO obviously having kind of a breakout performance at first stand as well.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the only one to make it back as far as representatives go here to MSI.
Wait.
And so
You know
far
what
looking
else
good
I
on that.
could
They pull ahead in this game too. T1, you highlighted it so well, right? It was the angles of attack, how well they fought, how well they leveraged their composition in the previous game. That
Look at that heart. That's adorable.
gotta
Love
respect.
that.
I think it's better
you,
without the
doggo.
snowflake.
Now
It's a great
you're
picture.
so
But it's like cute though.
CFO
It like works.
set up on Herald, and unfortunately T1 are just disastrously far
Where
behind.
did I put
so
this one here?
now we look at scaling. We look at what does it look like as we go later into the game, and the answer is you have a Jax, you have a Ryze and a Wukong. They're powerful tools, but CFO aren't going to give you an inch.
Ooh, edgy,
Colin
edgy,
coming
edgy,
through.
edgy.
Clean combo again. Junja grabs the kill. And again, they're just making these side lane picks look so effortless.
Now top lane's gonna fall
This
as well.
version's good.
Might even be an inner here at 17 minutes.
Oops. Where did it
And
go?
if you think that there's not enough damage yet on CFO in about
It's
2
behind
minutes,
my picture-in-picture
Drake
mode. I
is
can't
spawning
see
as
it.
Ulti across
ultimate.
the top. Hoping to find the jungle. Doggo doing decent damage, but has the cleanse, and in goes Honku! Multiple members locked up. It's only the clone owner managing to make it out. Guma has an extra lease on life, but it's not enough to bail out.
I'm gonna make this a
Doran?
sticker.
I don't think
Thanks.
he can
Yeah,
do enough
no
by himself.
problem.
He's arriving, but the room's already on fire.
Wait, I'll make the
6K
text
gold
better
lead
or
here.
easier to read.
And the thing
For
about
CFO, and it's just straight up, right? Junja
If you're
running the map,
actually.
and the bot lane Doggo and Kaiwing making such good use with these roams, with this map play, and T1 just continuously getting caught off guard.
And credit to Kaiwing. 0, 1, and 8. This is the guy that we look at. Engaged champions only. Maybe a Renata in
No,
there as
low-key,
well.
the lowercase
Really
looks
showing up on this
better.
Nami, making it work. Supportive role for sure, but overall, dominant performance thus far. I mean, just look at the bottom of the screen. 1.7, 1.1, 2.6. Massive leads for 3 of the members
Grr.
inside of CFO, and not really balanced out by what Doran has been able
Here,
to
I'll
do in
save this
isolation.
too.
Well, also Doran,
Art 2025.
realistically in this game, the expectations, okay guys,
Oh,
I'll be
7,
fine early game.
3.
Obviously, actually was able to make an impact.
Yeah.
And then once I had 2 items, I'm a menace in the side lane.
Yeah,
And then
let's
he gets
delete
there,
this.
or he will get there
Don't
soon.
mind that.
It looks the rest of the map, and it's Dire as owner. Maybe looking, but that's a Kasante.
And you can
kill him.
see that T1
Grr.
know that this is their avenue of attack, playing through Doran. But it's so hard when the enemy top laner is playing Kasante. When he can just
10.
dodge so much of the CC, but they're determined to try again. Recall going in from Faker. Q3 ready to go. Quick flash out from
And
Brass.
dot,
Managed to
dot,
find
dot.
the initial backpack. Pull back on the Wukong clone,
do you not
but
like
it's still
it?
the escape. Junja on the way in. Realm Warp. They need to get the hell out. Fallbreaker manages to catch him.
Do-
Soul! In the midst of it,
do
it's
you not
Junja
like the
Hall
edgy
here to
stuff?
follow. Absolute destruction for
No,
CFO.
stop.
It's a stomp, Dracos,
T1
in
lock
game
in
number
right now.
2. T1, so often they make a play, and you look at them.
My day has
can't
become 10
keep
times better
getting
after
away with
seeing
this.
this thing.
Guess what? They didn't.
And it's
Yeah,
the only
no
time where ulting the
problem.
clone is optimal.
It
He's
might go
not in
FF
threat
go,
anymore.
or it might
That's
be a
right
FF
there,
go next
Junja
angle for
with the
T1.
flash Q, gets the rise CC. The Realm Warp does not take T1 to safety as
T1,
reinforcements arrives.
No.
I heard a nice, a respectable nice is Doggo still just going.
Carry a
Double
flash.
TP and
Really
T1 are
unfunny,
trying to
but they
fight
hate
their way
me
through
and
this deficit, and it's not working out. Doggo are there ready on the way out. Blast code on the
They
way in.
hate
Kaiwing supporting
me.
for the backside with a bit more damage. Faker untouched, but it does not matter because it's Doran set to fall. Easy pickup for Doggo. Kaiwing still chasing. Q over the wall from Junja. Vaultbreaker to kick things off. The bubble hits! Kaiwing! Giving the kill
back
over
to
to Hongq.
artfight.
Faker running.
Faker.
CFO unrelenting in their pressure
No.
as the double kill comes through the twofold hex. Rest chasing.
Yo,
Owner
can we
falling.
delete Aurora?
CFO running the rift.
That's going to be the inner falling. Nothing that T1 can do. You can see the desperation, some of these flashes, some of these hard-forced plays. It's just not working out. The only solace for T1 is that they got a dragon and a grub. That's
A
it.
dragon and a grub.
No drakes. Or sorry, no turrets rather. I don't think Otacon is going to be on the menu either.
Carry a cheeky ult. Not going to do too much here. Otacon will fall as well. So now massive advantage in terms of flowers overall on top of all of the gold, 10,000. I mean, we could just list it off. CFO 100% in the driver's seat, and T1, I respect the instincts to try to fight your way out, but every time they've tried, it's just gotten worse. They have only dug themselves deeper.
And as T1, if you fall behind early with a comp like this, not that much you can do.
Shout out to the stats team who pulled this up for us. Faker has never died more than 8 times in an international games. 8 deaths was to G2 at MSI 2024 last year in Chengdu. On the cusp of breaking that record.
Oh my
Hongq
god, they're talking
and
about
CFO
Faker's
potentially the
deaths.
team to do it. And it starts
No,
to
not
reset
my
our perspectives on
goat.
what we saw in game 1, because it was
On
CFO in
shrimp,
control
okay.
for that brief moment. It was T1 who fumbled a bit. They fought their way out, but CFO was such a commanding lead. Setting a new pace, setting a new tone for this series.
Some whip over the day.
It's the continued attention from Junja in the early game. Making his impact in bot, getting his own buff, immediately setting Hongq up for success, because the Aurora is the type of pick where if you don't at least get a good starter, you can't fall behind, or you really very quickly just don't do that much, right? Your damage doesn't feel as impactful. Even if you get on top of the backline, it doesn't mean really anything as... well,
Are there only
T1's got to
3
try something.
claws?
Looks like we're going for another play onto Rest, but they don't want to risk it because look at the lack of vision control. There is nothing here for T1. They have no idea.
Observers beautifully highlighting what T1 see, and the answer is nothing.
You don't know.
They defend their own blue buff, and that's about it. They now will see Doggo at the very least. Uncertainty, they can assume there's more members of CFO there to cover, but walking into the brush, face checking into these brushes could be death. Carry, at least with the Celestial opposition, feels comfortable as Doran steps up top side.
Dracos, it's
5
it's
stars
Blade of the Ruined
easy
King.
right now.
It's
Who's
a
the
free
5
completed
star right
items.
now? I haven't done.
I
Oh my
mean,
god, I haven't done
do you
any
need to
of
say
my
anything else?
daily.
I
Maybe
let that breathe for a moment.
maybe you have a
It's a wallet diffy. No.
Oh,
is
Jufufu,
An
yeah.
insurmountable lead. T1 would need a miracle in this game to come back.
I'm not pulling for her because
Time
I'm
is running
broke.
short.
We'll see if T1 magic is as powerful as GAN magic. I don't think that it is in this one, Dracos.
All I'll say is, as long as the Krug Lord is in the game, you never know.
He's a 200 gold lead. His team is 11K.
And it's the only lead they have, Mao.
11K gold
It's the only
behind.
lead they have.
I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I don't see it.
No, yeah. this point, that glass is a shot glass.
All right.
There's not a lot
Owners
in
on a deep flank. They don't have a TP ward. I do think they need to get Doran and Faker there as well. And CFO Saware as well. They're not going to fall for it.
there. Doggo stepping up. Guma in trouble. Keria not quite in range. Going to be forced to go over the wall. Uses the heal. Ready with the bailout. But again, chipping away at those cooldowns before the next major objective. It's barrier and heal taken out of the equation. All flashes up except for HonkQ on the side of CFO. Similar state for T1. Better team fighting was the key to success for T1 in game 1. Now, the wallet diff should be insurmountable. But if there's any team that can out-execute...
I think that's the problem is that's not enough, because outside of rest, every single member on CFO is so fed that I can just see them carry the fight.
You know what?
It's-
I think you're right. I think I want to give them a bit of
Mother
credit. Just
walked
maybe
in.
I'm
happens,
happy to grasp
but
at
it
straws
is
with
Never
you.
mind.
we are
Mother's
grasping at the
talking
tiniest
loudly.
straws. There is
We're talking. Okay, so obviously it starts with a
like
Nash
the really
deal.
bad paper straws that immediately get soggy. Those are the straws
don't
we're
remind me.
grasping.
Mother walked
No,
in and was like,
there
have
should
you
be
watched
a
I
way.
want
Squid
to drink my
Games?
tea. Don't give me a soda stream.
Haven't.
You need to steal Baron, all right? Starts with that. So CFO, under no circumstances, and I don't think
Unless
they
you
will.
wanted
I
to
think
watch
they're
it
gonna
now,
just
but
deny vision.
League is
Maybe start
now.
Baron, immediately peel off. You just want to fight here. There's, as long as you don't give an opportunity for Owner to somehow get a crazy steal here,
He's waiting.
there's just no shot, right? For T1 to hold on. As soon as Baron goes down, you're done.
CFO.
Just turn on to the Wukong CFO.
Willing to flip it, it would seem. How will they keep Owner from getting into the pit? Doggo, quick calling to chunk out Keria. Massive chunks. The TP now goes in. It's Doran in the backside of the pit. They're starting to retreat. Doran with the stun. Will back
flipping.
out.
Love to see it. Look for the
League
turn.
over
Down,
Squid
taking their
Games.
time.
I mean, yeah,
Discipline, the name
because
of the game here. Faker finds a quick lockup. Owner immediately goes in, but it's just ZH coming over with the
T1,
tidal
I
wave.
need
As
to
HonkQ goes
watch
golden. He's ready now to
Aurora.
fire back. T1, one last
Yo,
desperate
somebody
gambit,
delete
and
her from
Faker's
the
the only
game.
man standing as Doran. 2 will fall.
I don't
CFO
think that's
on the
fair.
victory match to march to tie the series.
And the gambit, unsuccessful. CFO. They're not going to flip that Baron. Might take it now. Get the shove out. Maybe get a top lane inhibitor for your troubles. Don't have to look for the end. There's no need. Get this objective. Get your free Baron. Turn it into a soul point. Start knocking down these other
GG, go
inhibitors. And
next.
despite an attempt from Faker, the flash, the turn, the stopwatch is there. And we see the immediate ult from Kaiwing as well to keep his team safe.
And the hits keep coming for T1 as our stats team is a little ruthless. This is the worst T1 gold deficit at 20 at an international.
League is
minus
okay, I guess.
9K
Flips hair, okay,
at 20
buddy.
minutes. And the previous record
We
was
know you
2024
like
MSI
League.
versus BLG at minus 7.6.
Do they get this dragon? That'd be, that'd be something.
We know.
T1
They need to get out as well. That's the bigger
getting out
issue.
is the hard
Embrace
part.
the emo.
Junja ready to go over the wall. They see objective bounty has been claimed, and now they're chasing.
Running.
T1
Yo,
well
I
grouped,
better
ground warp not quite
see you
available,
with
but
a
they
new
will be able to
profile
walk away,
picture,
getting
and it
something back,
better
a
be
brief
this
glimmer of
emo
hope.
dog.
2.5 minutes on the Rebel Baron power play for CFO. It's getting these inhibitors, truly denying T1 access and looking at the item finishes.
Hey
we are now at
guys,
4
Flips
items
hair.
for Doggo to
I
2 for
hate
Guma.
my parents'
Faker
life
still
so
doesn't have any utility, just has a little bit of beefiness.
I just checked
The
it.
2 tanky items,
It's okay,
but
I
they need
guess,
damage. They need
or
to be able to actually
whatever.
kill someone as
HonkQ,
HonkQ.
big damage. T1 walk
Okay,
forward, immediate
buddy.
Q3 pull back, coming in from rest. HonkQ off to the side, quick use. The Seekers to keep Doran standing, but it looks like he'll fall as well. Doggo completely untouched. The base wide open, T1 pulling back. CFO, they've got the wallet diff, 15K in their favor. T1, there's no way they can hold this. Confidence, an incredible pace of game from CFO in game 2. One final stand for T1. Handshake connects. CFO gonna need just a few more seconds. The Nexus
Oh,
in their
T1, I
sights.
believe.
CFO in a dominant game 2, tie the series.
It's just,
And after
they're just giving them.
game number 1, if you go and you come from free,
They're giving them
guys,
one.
CFO won a game. We wouldn't be surprised. It was a back and forth. There were a couple of key decisions. But if you would have told me that this is one of the most one-sided losses that T1 has ever seen, couldn't have seen that one coming, Dracos.
I
No,
didn't, but maybe the analyst desk
Faker.
did. Let's hear what they have to say.
Well, I didn't either, but given the way CFO played in game 1, I'm actually not that surprised to see them bring it in game 2 here.
Wait, but
especially,
does
guys, when you consider
SKT still
the
play
way the
tomorrow
game
if they lose
started, because
today?
things started collapsing very early on
Yes.
in the early
Yeah.
game.
But it
Because you
also
I don't know how
initially
the-
looked pretty rough, right? Like Rest having to flash
I don't know how
in
the brackets
just
work.
to try to get
But I think if
XP.
they-
Yeah, look bad.
Like, that looked really
think if
rough.
they
were getting
lose, they
shoved in on the
don't.
bot side. And that bot side invade is really where it starts for me, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if Jinja doesn't actually
I need
get
them to
that
win.
smite
I need
off in
T1 to
that invade,
win.
it matters so much. But here he is.
I want
He
to
ends up
see
having to flash out,
Faker.
and then he manages to get the smite onto the red buff, which actually ends up being huge because they end up wasting so much time on that invade. Doggo and Kaiwing then take over that bot wave.
Guys, I'm gonna be
Junja
so
is able to
sad.
get this mid lane gank off, and then as the lane swaps later on, they end up cleaning up this kill on the top side too.
Yeah, Lucian and Nami coming through. This is really clean. I mean, the electrocute proc was one thing, but also, yeah, on top of the W, so he gets the 3-hit proc. And it felt really good. I like the composition from CFO, just had the range difference. I was a little concerned. It's always a skill check whenever you have to deal with a Kalista Renata, but they passed that check.
Absolutely. And
I don't know if
fantastic
this is
performance
goop
from
or
Lucian
if
Nami
it's
as a
like
whole. When you look at the bot lane, we were talking about how Junja usually
fur
is the
that
one leading the
just
pace
down,
in the
or
early
not
game and the
fur.
one controlling the enemy team. I feel like this move especially maybe is something that helped the team.
T1 was like, red alert, we
Look at
must
that.
escape. Junja did not
Nope.
let that happen. The cancellation with his flash Q to stop it from happening, and here comes
Maybe
Hong
I'll
Q
just
to
do
just
that like
get
it
the
is
job
in the
done.
ref.
I love this play. They already had a lead before this
Yeah.
point. CFO just solidified it.
Yeah, that was the backbreaker actually, right? Because if they get out,
I think
maybe they
this
can
needs to be
regroup,
out more.
reset. Jinja says, absolutely not.
Was that driver in the back? He's dancing for his... that was good.
I want to focus on, obviously, Hongkyu absolutely popped off on his Aurora. I want to focus on Doggo, actually.
All right.
Let's do it.
Because previously, he did go to MSI
I
with
hate
PSG
Aurora.
Talon, right? But he was selected, he'd been playing on BYG, and he was a substitute. He going into this, CFO did some YouTube content, they were interviewing their players, and he actually said, you know, this MSI is super important to me because it's an MSI I earned like for myself, right? And so to show up on this Lucian pick, supported by Kaiwing's Nami, something I know he's been practicing,
Yeah,
not an engaged support,
true.
looked pretty good.
Little risk, but it worked.
Looked pretty good, especially in the composition that T1 was playing, because we saw Honor trying to go, and we saw the rest of the composition from T1 trying to
I
go.
don't like how the
You
hand
always
works. I
had
feel like
that
it should be
Nami wave
down more.
ready to
Like,
bounce back and just push them back.
Yeah, I enjoyed
But
it
do I
because
care?
was
Not
always a little
really.
concerned to see if the Renata ulti was going to be a major factor, but I felt like Kaiwing always
I just
want to
catch up on my attacks so that I'm not like behind.
But that point about Doggo feeling like he really earned getting to that stage is a big one, just knowing that, like, technically when he got in for Unified at that time, he put his name on the map, worked in the LPL, all these things, but he always knew he really wanted to get here on his own work and his own volition. Now CFO, anyone that was a doubter based on the first stand results, immediately proven wrong. That was a ridiculous lead that they were able to hold on to.
Well, and look at Doggo. I just highlighted his damage because he did
Oh, nice.
28.4k damage, right? And you see this is his personal,
I
you
feel
know,
like
goal
dinner
difference.
soon.
That was the goal difference over time. Kind of insane. Both the
5:33.
Aurora and the Lucian popped off.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too, because before he went into pro play, hearing that Hongkyu's name was Chihuahua.
Yeah.
And by the way, belated happy birthday, Chihuahua. You turned 18 just
Yay.
yesterday. So
I
it was the
clicked back
Chihuahua
into
Doggo
general
combo that
chat,
really reigned
and then
there
I
back
see
Turned 18
I'm not your
yesterday,
buddy
Max
or
Faker for the
whatever.
first
I don't
time
have
earlier
friends.
Today, and
Nobody understands
something that we
me.
highlighted on social media was the fact that when Faker won Worlds for the first time, he was 6 years old.
Okay.
That's insane.
It's not only meet your heroes, it's stomp your heroes on lane and in game here. Amazing statement game from Hongkyu.
Yeah, this is
Look at
this
that.
is
That is adorable.
I can
It's
already
absolutely
hear the
adorable.
K-pop
The
vibes on
video
in my
is
head.
cute.
I
Yeah.
that entire trend.
All right, talking about the next game, we have a series right now between these two teams, which is
I'm gonna
something
play
that I
Hui
really enjoyed,
today.
honestly, CFO bringing
Fitting.
the vibes that they had at first stand. What do we want to look on the side of either team? For
That's actually
For
fitting.
me, it just has to be a little bit more of a challenge on just the draft. I think the draft from T1, I always wondered, I was like, okay, if they're going to lock in Kalista Renata instantly, that's just them kind of saying we can win on our own volition. Doesn't really matter what we're dealing with. That's obviously not true.
No, don't
So
worry. I'll be
finding a
your
draft that makes a
I'll
lot
be
more
your
sense,
bro
so you
in your
don't immediately
what?
have to deal with the range advantage from T1. And also,
Whatever.
I do think
Sorry, I'm
if
hard
you were going to, like the whole level 1 thing or level 2 thing around red buff, if you're going to do that and you have a ward over
Next
the wall,
thing,
to pull
I'm
it
just
out, you
gonna
don't have
like,
smite, then
I'm gonna hear
really
you
don't need to
start
put
saying
yourself in
Hui
that
lines.
position, because that was a really solid play that T1 had early on.
Yeah, it actually did give up that bot lane prio, right?
Yeah.
And allowed
Obsession
the
keeps
duo
the mind
of Shinami
awake.
to get back in the game, so that was really important. I would just shore up these small early game things, right? Because we saw this in game 1 and game
What's
2.
his alt line
I know
again?
T1 can do it. They're known for their monstrous
Which
early
is the one
games,
that I like
so
to
let's see it.
spam.
And CFO don't want to make it easy for them because they're bringing back Driver
There he
here
is.
for game 3 as
See
T1
as I
has selected
see.
blue side. So let's see the approach they come up with here at MSI after the break.
Whoa. I need to play him again. I missed him. Miss Way. League of Legends Yowie. I like how his lines change depending on if there's Jhin or not. Wait, low-key toxic Yowie? What is this line? There's light in me, I can't lose sight of it. Not when you draw out my darkness, Jhin. Yo. Crazy.
Get summer ready at Verizon. All new and existing customers get iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. Yep, iPhone 16 Pro on
Wait,
us.
low-key,
Only with Verizon.
I'm gonna be at RB. I did not save. Oh my god. Question mark? I keep on forgetting to. One. Okay. I want to know what dinner is. I'm hungry. Wait. I don't know how much time I have until the round starts. I'm actually gonna have to run. Okay. Hopefully, if T1 wins, hopefully. Praying. Webba, thank you. I hope I can finish this before I have to leave for dinner. I don't want to stop in the middle of a piece. That's annoying. What are y'all doing in VC? Is he playing Valorant? I see the Valorant. We're impulse shopping low-key. Are you looking at the... I saw in the preview. Is that the MSI jacket? Because low-key, I'm gonna... I might buy it. Apparently it's a secret. I might buy it.
From FAKER, Q3 ready to go. Quick flash
If
out
it doesn't
from
like
to find the
sell
initial
out when I'm there.
But it doesn't matter, it's still the escape. Junja on the way in. Realmorph, they need to get the hell out. Ballbreaker manages to catch them all! In the midst of it, it's Junja home Q to follow! Absolute destruction for CFO! An incredible game from CFO.
I might
As we've
buy
seen
the
across this
Spirit Blossom
entire stage
jacket.
thus far.
I don't know
The
what that one
expected
looks
favorites
like.
might drop a game, but no one has been able to transition it to that second win yet. Will CFO be the first to do it?
A fan sign classic there, adjusting
Oh,
expectations.
this one. Is it this one?
That's it. Not just in this tournament, right? Have we, I think, seen a game that one-sided, but more importantly, even in all the free ones we've had in the main stage thus far, I do feel like the one game was a lot harder fought. It was a lot more back and forth.
I might get
There
that
was a lot more
MSI coach
battling.
jacket. Wait, oh my god, me too.
This was just a
Except not
complete
tomorrow.
and utter stomp. Felt like
Maybe on
outside
like
of top in
when I
every
go,
single
if
lane.
they don't
Leads were
run out.
found very early, and they were
If they run
compounded
out,
upon to
I'm
the
gonna
point
be so
where
sad.
CFO just
But I guess I could
really
buy it
rolled over T1,
online.
and we'll see if they're able to repeat it. This is always, as we think often talk about,
Liquor
in
store run,
situations like this
alright.
is really where you get to see it. How can they take that momentum in this series and keep it going?
It's a very good question. Right, we heard from, I think, Ramon for the first G2 win. Hey, we're just taking it easy, it's casual. It didn't look casual.
Why
for
did
that
I
first
click
game, and I imagine
my
it's the same for
shop
CFO. How do you stay
in the Riot Games
a little
site, and the
lighthearted? How do you
first thing
keep
I
that
see
pressure
is
off you as you get closer
Ezreal statue,
testing
Ezreal
T1 as you are on the
posters.
cusp of match point. But T1, of course, just as close. It's just the best of three now that stands in front of us. And this team,
Like, okay.
they're a scary team to make angry. A
Yeah.
scary team when they if they
Yeah,
immediately
I might-
lock in
I might
after.
get
This
the
is a team
coach
with
jacket
a
too,
lethal
if-
early game if they have the right tools.
It's important
If
to
they
note that
have it
even
in
domestically,
person.
T1 dropped a bunch of best of threes to teams that they were heavily favored against. But this is a best of 5. This is MSI, and even though MSI hasn't been T1's tournament for a
It's
very
like my
long time, they still
Uniqlo
were
one,
generally
but
able to
it
get
has
very high finishes. Not quite
uh,
going the
logos
full
on it.
distance, but yeah. As we get into this draw for game
Adds
number
color.
3, can't wait to see
Adds
what
color
CFO
to
will
my
bring after
black
that
clothes
dynamite in game number 2.
wardrobe.
Now on the red side for the first time this series, T1, of course, as the losers get side selection. First time on blue. See how this changes their approach, as a lot of the utility mid laners still removed from the pool. So 6 effective mid lane bans as we are in Fearless.
I love Uniqlo tees, so quality. Yeah, they're pretty good
Driver
quality.
here back in as well, so potentially a shift.
My clothes
to a
is
tankier
totally
top
not
side, and I'm expecting
mainly Uniqlo.
not the use of a counter pick for top lane.
I say as I'm
Could
wearing
see
like a Uniqlo t-shirt right now.
Ruckus face off here, both Doran and Driver. Don't like that champion quite a lot, though we did see the Jax taking out one of the most popular counter picks. As T1, I think, are fishing for a B1 Azir. Nothing interesting, nothing out of the ordinary, and if CFO don't ban that away, it does seem like it should be a no-brainer. Probably followed up by the Ahri, which has been the most popular counter pick we've seen afterwards, as fans going crazy, Dracos. Understandably, team needs to support after a rough game like that.
Definitely do. See if it is the Azir, as you predicted, to come through here. I think big for the side of CFO and their hopes of going further in this series is that really only the Leona and the Renata of
Maybe
the
I
effective
should just
Kaiwing
buy this
champion will have taken
online.
off the board. The surprise win with that Nami.
Yeah.
I don't
Giving
know
them
if
a
it's
few
gonna
more options as we go
sell
deeper
out
into
anytime
Fearless.
soon. I want
Alistair
it.
still available. Nodla still available.
The Doran faces are cursed, but the Krug Lord sign is absolutely
They're
fantastic.
so good. And it was a big talking point come into today, but game number 1 he was great. Obviously had a couple of moments, but at large, solid. In game number 1 he was, or game number 2 rather, he's the only one of T1 that we couldn't really criticize. As CFO, no shocker. Make the same read, and I think targeting Faker in the draft, given how game number 2 played out and the colossal
targeting
amount of
Faker.
gold
He
that
didn't do
CFO
anything
was able to
wrong.
generate by just
My
taking him down
God.
over and over again. Does make sense to me. T1 really.
I have.
like
Wait,
to
no,
give
no, me
him another
too.
grab.
Like,
Instead, it's going to be the Gwen here for Doran.
I'm not even joking, but like,
A chance for
my
Rowan to
whole
shine. That was the
closet
champion
is
he died to Grudcon.
basically
And again,
Uniqlo.
Immediately after he died, he did come in and 1v1 an enemy carry, Wampa stomp a fight, and storm off into the night. His driver now debating.
My
I guess a
button
huge
up
comfort pick for him.
from Uniqlo. My pants
Actually did
from
already.
Uniqlo.
See the smile.
And it feels
My
like there's more tension in
t-shirt
this game
also from
pre-draft.
there.
Remember, the previous matchup, it was an instant slam from T1. Callista, Renata, full confidence. This time, you see CFO taking their time with responses on red side. Gwen, a high-stakes champion. If you fumble, if you make a mistake, she can absolutely take over as it's
Ooh, I don't know about that.
blind
Junja,
Trundle.
you have been
He's
playing-
earned it.
You've been, well, no one. If Canyon doesn't earn blind Trundle, no one
Okay.
earns blind Trundle,
No one
Dracos.
earns blind Trundle.
Because I think that Junja, thus far for me, has been the
100%
absolute
the best
standout.
performing player in
And
this series thus far.
If that was an Ornn on the enemy team, I think it makes sense.
Sure.
But blinding a Trundle like that, I don't think you can get away with as owner.
Yes! This might not be as special for you. You get to cast this champion sometimes. But this, for me, ooh, the
And
Zed
We are obviously going to assume, despite the historical significance of
of the Zed.
T1 and Zed and Faker and Zed, that this is going to go towards owner.
If it is mid, will we do the thing in the game?
Oh, we will. We won't, because we get blind Galio, and the blind Trundle kind of made me question. The blind Galio feels like, to me, another admission from T1. They just want to ensure that they get Faker on something that he is comfortable with. But they really need an engaged support to go with this, right? They need someone that sets up. They need someone that can go in. Nautilus, for me, would be the prime one.
Non-zero possibility Faker goes Zed in
come
the
on,
big
dude.
25.
Okay. We're cooking with gasoline, baby. There are exciting picks all around.
Oh, I need to hurry
Zed
up
went
and
topside,
finish
absolutely no CC, but
this.
immense dive potential. But there's not really a great dive target, and
It's
Drain
dinner
Tanks seems to be the name of the
time,
game
and if I
alongside of
sit here
CFO.
longer,
Swain,
I'm
the
gonna be
Gragas, the Trundle. There's a lot of sustain in this game.
That's a bunch of beefcakes for CFO towards the top side of the map. That said, eventually Doran, as Gwen, is going to have a decent time cutting through them, but that is really going to take a long time. T1 was not able to find it, but for me, the most important is that it's owner on a carry. And though owner has been the carry on T1 for the large part of the summer split, it was mostly him in more facilitative plays, setting up for the rest of his team, finding on things like Zinzao so much control in the fights. This is just a straight up carry. He needs to be the one that goes in, finds the backline, and kills the high value targets. And thus far, as highlighted,
Surely I won't.
he doesn't really
Maybe-
have a
maybe
target
if I
yet.
just-
Really, the best one is probably Trundle.
Maybe if I
do
say
have to say
I'm
though with Swain,
streaming,
it is a champion where if you start falling behind, it
then
will
he
feel
won't
very
yell,
reminiscent of
and
what
then he
happened in T1 in game
won't
number
get
1. We've seen his
picked up
pick
on the mic.
pulled out, I think, a decent amount, as not just in the Galio, but into the Ari as well for a little amount of time. But you do need to be able to actually drain tank for it to have consistent value.
Yeah, a champion that can look incredible in the right circumstances, but you're right, if it falls behind, the Gwen and the Zed can make quick work of the pick. Interestingly, the Jhin, the MF both banned away. Varus has already been hit, so the options for Guma to sit safely in the backline while the rest of his team dives forward are getting more and more limited. Now, Kaisa is still available, a champion who isn't the best laner, but
I'm
can
sad
follow up
Guma
on
can't
the
play
Galio,
Ezreal
can follow up on
now.
the Gwen chasing in, although again, they don't have CC to set up the plasma.
I wanted to
Kai'Sa's
see the Ezreal.
a big risk if you do take that, because there is a lot of lane bullies still available. That's one of the ones that I was going to go for. I like this a lot more. Doggo picking up the Caitlyn.
Senna.
Ooh, what is it going to be?
Yeah,
For Guma
whoa,
here.
Okay. Thinking about it. I agree, audience. We know what we want, Guma. Do
Gonna give
it.
it
Come
to-
on.
Oh, come on.
Come on. Not that. Nope, not that. Yeah.
We're already off the wall. Might as well commit.
Come on, come on, come on.
This, though, it's a known quantity.
Okay, it's fine. It's safe. It's stable. We all wanted the Aphelios. Give us the 200 years, but we'll take the 200
Aphelios.
stacks instead if he can last that long. And
Imagine. That would have been great.
potentially controversial duo from a lore standpoint, but might work.
Carrier.
I need to actually
Okay.
try and learn
Oh, God.
Aphelios. Can't do it though.
Chronicler, we're gonna have to bring it up
It's
at some
too
point, but you know how
difficult.
I feel about this pick.
I know you don't like it.
It is Carrier, though.
Is it? So there's a couple options, right? We can go towards Lux, we can go towards Morgana, we can go towards Karma. Karma, to me, the most versatile. Oh,
Okay.
We
Or-
counter hooks with hooks. Is it the crank for Kaiwing?
My god, the nuke.
Krankos.
We're gonna have a conversation about American slang after this.
Oh, it's Braum. All
That's
right.
Braum.
Okay.
all right,
Braum's good.
okay,
Braum's
okay.
Not
We gotta
the
cool the
nuke.
draft off a little bit. Braum locked in. Certainly good with the amount of melee champions. Certainly good to stop the dive, right? An excellent counter dive option, but Engage now going to be a bit more reliant on driver on this Gragas. This is by far the spiciest draft we have seen.
I mean,
all of
I don't
MSI
want the
2025
nuke.
so
because
far.
What if the nuke explodes
And you had the
T1?
sign and they didn't do it, so I'm sorry. You made a good sign, it's just wasn't enough. In this game, look, I know there's stakes, but it's upper bracket. This is just gonna be awesome.
I can't wait to see how these two comps are going to play out as well. So, strengths for T1. Obviously, the pick potential with the Thresh, always going to be a big talking point. Still have the side lane impact. And we have Doran on one of his most
That's
consistent
true,
picks.
exactly.
And one of the few picks that can actually chew through the members on CFO. Obviously, in a theoretical world, eventually Senna does, but it takes so long. And on the flip side,
I
for
need
CFO,
T1 to
it's
win.
mid-game, mid-game, mid-game. Turn that early bot lane oppressive matchup with the
Senna
Caitlyn
Thresh kind of
into some
upped against
skirmishing,
Kate,
with
bro.
particularly that Swain to try and nugget T1 an opportunity to play the game.
Chronicler, we're getting ready for game. T1 fans ready, they're excited.
I'm not.
But of course, this is gonna be thrilling. The thing is, I'm a Thresh hater. I have been for many years, but if anyone on the face of this planet can change
If they
my
lose, my
mind,
whole pick'ems
it
is
is that
messed
man on
up
your screen
then.
now with the Modest skin as well.
Spell book for both supports here. No big surprises. Otherwise, to see Junja going for PTA, which he's, as we can see there, obviously going to be great in the short trades.
And this is why junglers like Blind Trundle, is there's a lot of dopamine. It can be difficult without a tank on the enemy team,
Oh,
but
auto chomp auto.
auto chomp
It feels great. He's playing into an AD matchup as well. The big thing is obviously though that the ability to actually lock down the Zed is minimal. And there really isn't that many ways to
I
deny
saw a
owner
sign
back
for
on X's
bubble
once we get
tea
deeper
and
into
then
the
they
game,
misspelled
right?
boba
There
as
isn't-
bobo.
outside of driver,
I mean, maybe it's like,
really a lot of immediate CC, and in this
maybe-
case, I think he would
maybe
also
it's
still
just
often
a
have to
dumb
rely on the
thing.
flash to really catch the Zed off guard. But what a drop
What if they're
setup
just
here as
quirky
Junja
like
has been
that?
so consistent. Are they going to target Faker again? The invade will definitely come through. This is a Braum. The level 1 is always going to be a menace as owner. This time on the receiving end of one.
Creative level 1. Junja obviously really
I want
fast, single
bubble
camp
tea.
clear
I
on
wish I
this
had
Trundle.
bubble
Maybe just
tea.
wants to try to outpace owner. Zed, of course, in isolation though. Very easy for him to clear as we get the
We wanna
picture in
highlight
picture.
as well, yeah. On the map, they are aware that owner is there. Not only that, they have also warded
Yo,
his
who wanna
own
get bubble
camp, so
tea
they
and
will have a
deliver it to
perfect
my house?
timer
I'm
of
joking, by
where
the
the
way.
Zed is going to be at any point. And the cool thing is, even if you don't counter, what is going to happen is these two dudes are going to get as
Oh my
many
God, I
pop
got
shots,
you.
pop shots
No.
on Carrier and on Guma. They're going to try and set up for a dive because the map is split vertically towards the top
I
side
hate
41,
like, I
bot
hate
side
doing
for CFO.
DoorDash or like
Mid lane is not looking any
Uber
better.
Eats
Joey
or
does
whatever
Not
it
looking
is
hot at
here.
all.
Alpha
Maybe once the
Faker.
phase
I
rush is
got
it's a bit easier,
you.
obviously, to support for
No.
ganks. Good CC in that lane
They need to hit two.
for owner, but Junja on the way.
My God, you're gonna come
Close,
to
you can
my
see bottom
house
of your
just to
screen.
drop
Actually, they're
off
pretty far
bubble
away.
tea.
Ooh, sums are available, but heal is already used by Carrier.
Experience.
And yeah, if they were lower, maybe, but I think the dive
Imagine,
would
that'd be
a gamble.
so
You do
funny.
really need to stack up the
My
Braum
parents
passive.
would
Can
be
do it
like,
quickly with the auto
who the
resets
heck
on the
is
Trundle.
this?
Still
Junja.
level 1.
No one here to cover. Carrie and Guma have to survive this. This would be disastrous. Junja starting to walk forward, lays down a little bit of damage initially. Nice flash backwards as Guma's been taken out the dive. Flawless thus far. Kaiwing about to fall. Carrier tries to trade back. It It will be a 2-for-1 in the favor of CFO. But no one's here to grab this CS. It's an absolute disaster for T1.
No, don't say that.
They saw the Caitlyn. We're like, we can get away with the Senna. As it turns out,
It's an absolute
much
disaster
not
for
the
T1.
as the Doggo
No.
comes through for Doggo, and we saw how he played with a lead in game number 1. And to add insult to injury, Doran is just trying his best. The bot lane is rotating up. They might look for a counter dive, but reinforcements are on the way for Driver.
A little bit lower. Already burned his W. Should be a quick fall. Level up there. Owner, the living shadow, comes out, but he's not able to get the auto attack. Not able to get the attempt for the week, and there's a Braum here just waiting for him. One stack.
Slows him down.
Got the kebab ready to go there. As
Yo,
Doran
I'm kind of
starts to
glad
run.
I'm not
Forces the
watching Game
flash as
3
well.
right now.
Good deal. That's the flash, but I think T1 should just be happy that they didn't give over another kill to this Caitlyn.
I'm not
looking
gonna
for a
be able
cancel
to
here.
see T1.
How much
On
are they
to
willing to
Doran.
take?
It's
Killed him
so
with Peacemaker,
over.
forcing him
Go.
back. Nice advantage for tempo as
Oh my
Driver's
God,
already
look at
reset
this
TP
wave
bot
state.
lane.
It's a disaster here in the early game for T1. CFO are just reading them like a book, running around the map. Junja again, 2 assists before the full clear is done.
Yo, the
And also
world
the fact that in that
hates
previous
me.
tower dive, both kills go to Doggo. It's so crucial because look
Yep.
at that serrated Dirk in inventory.
Yeah.
So much damage in the short trades. Guma's not going to be in a comfortable position to stack at all in this lane.
I don't think he's going to be in a comfortable position to live in this lane. I think stacks are.
Imagine
like
if
5
this
steps
week of
down the
work was
line.
like horrible
Terrifying
and then
prospect.
like
Big
T1 I
night
didn't get to
vision
see
here.
them.
They
Like,
see
Junja
Junja.
on the way.
Guma doesn't.
Good lantern.
Ooh, okay, does have the clan still, so it would have been fine even if the
Life
does get
sucks.
procced.
life isn't fair. It's okay.
Wandering down
Whatever.
to place a little bit of vision. Owner is here on the
Get
bottom
over
side.
it.
But Driver, again, there's no CC for Doran. So as long as Driver doesn't step too far forward here, he's in a decent spot. The cannon wave taking up a bit, but it's not quite a full freeze. Doggo does get rooted, and Owner just continues to wait in the
Driver,
darkness.
No flash.
Driver stepping
Ooh,
up.
Doran
Missed
doesn't need
BLG
damage.
game because of work,
Casper
and
just
now
hit
that
level
you know
6 though, and
literally.
they just have to back off.
Now the opportunity cost is low for Owner.
Heal forward. They know that
This
Owner's not
is
here.
fine.
CFO want to get
It's
aggressive, but a good
okay.
flay from Carrier denies them the
League
play.
Hydri.
Doesn't spend too much time there. I think wisely backs off. Will be able to get towards the top side of the map. Clear as
Yeah, I
camps,
have
but
League
when
playing
the
in the
Zed
corner.
is in the head. When it comes to either gold or CS, to the Trundle, you know the early game
How are
not been
you?
going the way that
I'm
you've been looking
sad.
for. We do see T1 trying to at
I'm
least fight
sad
back a little
and
bit here
crying
towards the
and
top side of the map. This wave
sad
state
and
remains rough, and it
crying.
means that Doggo can take so many pot shots. And again, it's a serrated Dirk, as you highlighted.
Why? Because
And Driver
T1
he's
is
Gragas on the weak side.
not
He doesn't
looking
need to care.
great.
And while Doggo's still wildly far
And if they
ahead in terms
lose,
of
then I don't
CS,
get to see them,
range
and I
advantage
want
for
to
Carrier at
see
least means they're able
T1.
to walk up a bit in this lane. But it will just be Junja starting the objective, spotted on vision though, importantly. So T1 know they have a window of opportunity if they want to get
My
anything
God,
done.
I could-
Faker already has pressure in mid lane, but really just needs to
Crystals.
back at this point as Doran and Driver trading blows. Cask burned there. Doran, just a quick response, so not a lot can happen.
Owner close to 6, but not there yet. With 6, could maybe be an angle. That trade's actually not going too poorly here.
Doggo with 2 kills, worth a bit of money if they can find it.
Honky already sitting on a giant spell. And Owner, he's like, oh, is there a Raptor camp for me, please? Not yet. Spawning soon,
T1
though, so
lock-in.
we'll be able
Faker
to pick
lock-in.
that one up. Should be able to get him at least close to level 6. Honky gonna take a look here. I don't think, even if Owner hits 6, I don't think he is fretting. And nope, XP not gonna be enough. Looking like the red buff is next on the menu. Should be able to
See if he
steal
can
this
finish
away.
this. Should be able to do so in time, but doesn't have smite. Neither does Junja as he's going to start to path up. Good vision placed previously by Owner means he'll know that it's coming.
Pace of the game not nearly as crazy as previously. We'll see if Fake wants to look for an ult play.
Ping's coming down. Faker ready with ultimate. Guma and Carrier stepping forward. In that brief period of time before the waves crash in mid lane, they know, hey, maybe there's an angle with this Galio to get something done. Junja.
Just want to try and get the crash in, right? Guma desperately needs the back, but with Junja showing, I don't know how much they can really do. And Kaiwing just making sure that his wave state remains awkward.
Doran going all in, knows he has the ult advantage. Bit of damage mitigated by the Gragas W, but a quick dash back. Doran just trying to take control of that lane. Kaiwing Making sure the
Okay,
backs
I
don't
like
come
it better
easy,
like
willing to
that.
give up a bit of life just to stop these recalls. And
Maybe
Swain cancels from a different lane from a mile away. Just making tempo so hard for T1.
Swain from the lane, canceling the back there.
Make this
Keeping
up
T1
more.
behind on tempo. As Junja starting. The objective here, I don't think there's anything that T1 can do. Their lanes are pushed in. Owner is just trying to farm up a storm. But as far as T1 blueprints go, it doesn't often look like this. Owner on a carry, not really from a individual player perspective, but just with T1, there's, again, the fact that this core man unit of Owner, Faker, Guma, Carrier playing together effectively since 2021. But then with a different top laner, obviously, Say's coming in through Doran now. As a
Oh my god, I only did like 2 arts. I need to start
casks,
drawing on
the
my
rest of the
iPad again.
Gragas has been good. The casks,
CSing, no notes.
Yep. Which is what matters.
Surviving the ganks,
I love
great.
the
As long as
composition,
there's no
I
fight,
don't.
obviously the cast cooldown isn't really going to matter. And Red Catalyst Driver is also not friend whatsoever. But with this core, it also means that these players obviously very fine-tuned to one another, and hasn't been often that they've been able to play a style like this. We'll see, because they have to, because I think CFO thus far, they're obviously feeling great.
I need to draw
Doggo
on my
very far
iPad.
ahead.
It's like more
Now,
comfortable.
I have been burned by Doggo a little bit in some of the games that we saw.
Yes.
And in the previous game, always
But
dashes
then I
in,
also
were
want to
obviously
stream all my
very,
attacks,
very
or
good as
most of
well.
my
The cancel,
attacks. And I hate
Damage onto Guma.
screen
Lantern
sharing
about to
my
expire.
iPad.
Control ward laid down. Flash out from Guma. Nice bit of tech there, just putting that control ward down to make it impossible. You can zoom in, but it's still so hard to click.
It's a really good play there from Doggo, and Kaiwing get both sums from Guma. Sitting on 17 souls, by the way. Not having a very fun time. Owner, the vision control is obviously there for CFO, as Carrier is just watching his turret get obliterated by this. Caitlyn, there's not really anything he can do. Just has to sit there and eat it.
And I think the good news for
Oh my god,
T1
now I
is
only have
normally when you
10
play
in
Thresh,
my
you really need to
queue.
snowball, but because the enemy team is all about kind of this death ball, the Lantern alone is a lot. It can do a lot of work in those exchanges. Honkyu, good trade with the Vision of Empire.
Result,
Okay.
TP.
Well,
That's Kaiwing coming in on the Brom. It's a
Creative use.
love it though,
Owner and
thank
Kaiwing.
you.
flexing Penguin versus Angry Bee.
Oh my
True.
god, dog.
I mean, Kaiwing does have
Forgot
the
I
power
had
of
that
Kabbalah
there.
on his side.
That is my favorite Brom skin.
Okay, I feel
It's
like somebody's
it's
gonna
fantastic.
This
come up
does
here and tell
buy
me to eat
Guma
dinner. Okay,
a little bit of
bye.
time.
Observers have a different opinion as we randomly pan down to super